All right, we're just starting. So it's 9 o'clock. Well, a minute past 9 p.m. Eastern. It is a week since daylight saving time. Daylight savings. I think it's daylight saving. Um, my guest was supposed to be Dan, the Great Curator. He is now the owner, operator, president. I don't know whatever of Saturday Morning Cards. I think he's ducking. I think he is intentionally not going to show up. I think that a lot of people want some hard questions asked and some difficult answers to be responded with. And I think he's ducking this very platform podcast. Welcome to episode 2 of the Hobby Hangout. I am your host, Denny Cards. Jay Bells is in the house. He says, I got my front row seat. Welcome. The front row seat in so many venues is a great seat to have. But when you are in the movie theater, it is like the worst. It is the worst because you have to crane your neck up. I think there's like a Seinfeld episode about that. Let's see. We have here Connor. Connor, I hope his classmate friends don't video bomb this whole thing like last week. But thank you for being here, Connor. Jay Bell says, "What's up, Denny?" Penguin, yes, says, "What's up, Denny?" Jay Bell's very true, man. And Orange Slices, he says, "Deanie, you are so cute." So I'm not Deanie. So whoever Deanie is, Orange Slices says, "You're cute." And Glad the Ripper says, "Sup." Chris Sweet says, "Is this going to be like in WWE when you hit the music and nobody comes out?" Man, I don't even have a theme song for this podcast. I used to record on, what is it called? It was called like Spotify for podcasters, and they had some like prearranged music, and I had like this whole intro music, some interlude, some outro music, and it's all gone. So it's kind of like when TikTok went away. You can't be overly reliant on one platform. That's what I'm learning as a content creator. And so Orange Slices says, "I'm so sorry. Please forgive me." It's all good. So tonight, I hope you guys have your favorite or whatever is nearby, soft or hard drink of choice for the Hobby Hangout. I am drinking Port City Brewing. It's a microbrewery in Alexandria, Virginia. This is called Doppelbock, German style dark lager. I don't know if this is from like Oktoberfest time. This could be skunked old beer. I don't know. Let me see if there's a expiration on this. Oh my gosh, this is old. It says canned on December 2023. I don't know if I should drink this. Oh, our guest is here. Okay, let's get him on. I can't believe he's here. Dan, I told people that you were ducking this because you might have to answer some hard questions.
Well, I just had to make my wait for the room to fill up before I make my entrance.
So we got 8 in the chat. Thank you guys all for being here. I remember you were the first guest of my original first podcast called The Card Diary by Javier Thompson. And I remember at that time you were like, you are not going to have any listeners. And I said, thank you for the vote of confidence. And I can very much say that from a YouTube live stream standpoint, episode 1 with Ryan McCormick of the Mid-Atlantic Card Show got over 100 views, 100 watches, whatever it is, which is good. I hope that this one is equally or more successful. But the podcast, like, when I push it out to podcast feeds, it literally does have 0 views, 0 listens.
So you switched from doing a recording to a live format, and then you cut that up and turn it into the podcast now? Is that what happened?
I don't even cut it up. I just basically press download, and then I upload on StreamYard, on Spotify for podcasters, like their new platform, and then it just goes up. I think that's what you did with Between Two Slabs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because you want the live chat and comments and stuff?
Live chat and look, I mean, with you not doing Between Two Slabs, with Sports Card Radio not doing the live stream, I think there's a desire for some more live content. So, I want people to be able to, for this one though, I do want people to be able to come into the StreamYard. I think you guys would allow people in the chat. You guys would allow prioritization of messages with your super chat stickers, which no one has ever done that. If anyone wants to be the very first person to give a super chat sticker, I will make sure that money goes straight, will not be sent to Saturday Morning Cards. Promise.
It goes right into Denny's pockets, guys. So
yes,
that means don't waste your money.
70%. Apparently YouTube takes 30%. So
yeah.
Let's see. There's a lot of emojis in the chats. I won't show them all up on the screen. But Chris Sweet, oh, you know what? I totally forgot. I forgot to greet our guest today with a happy Stone Cold Steve Austin 316 day. He is also an avid wrestling card collector. He's actually one of the very first people in the hobby that I knew who collected wrestling cards. So
I'm a pioneer. Yes.
You're a pioneer. Yes.
Let me correct that real quick before people go all crazy. I wasn't like one of the first people to collect wrestling cards. I'm just one of the first people to collect wrestling cards, bring them to card shows, show them off, sell them, and make content, like show them off to the mainstream.
I'm
not really the first guy in any market, but I'm like the first guy to like bring attention to a market that most people don't care about.
Like an emerging market.
Yeah.
Would you say you did the same thing with like Star Wars cards?
Yeah, Star Wars, Marvel PMGs, you know, for a little period of time there, Type 1 photos, custom art cards, like the piggy bank stuff, you know. I'm usually like the first guy that goes in there and, you know, brings a lot of attention to it, but I'm not like the guy that starts the whole thing or anything like that.
I mean, maybe that's a good kind of like mini segue to just jump right into one of the things I think no one asked me to ask this to you, but you brought up the Marvel and the PMG stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I first consumed your content, I just thought this guy really likes Marvel PMG stuff, but then you were accused of like pumping and then dumping. You have been on record multiple times to tell people like, you know, pump what you like show off your collection, be happy. So what was it the dumping part? Like, I mean, oh my gosh, this cat, it's not even my cat. This is crazy.
This is not very professional. Crazy. This is not very professional, guys.
This cat is not professional. It's crazy. All right. So the question generally is what happened with the whole Marvel PMGs and the pump and dump stuff?
Really had nothing to do with me. It's just mainly people that have no idea about what was going on in the hobby at that time, and they were just looking for somebody to blame. And I guess they pick the Asian guy, you know, like, you know, my PMG collection paled in comparison to everybody else that was out there. You know, I didn't even have any green PMG. Most of my PMGs were red, and I was just one of the first people to grade them, right, and bring them to card shows, and that got a lot of attention because I was making content about it. But I was not like sending my cards to Golden or anything like that and getting all these record sales. But, you know, the thing is, a lot of people, they don't do their research in the hobby, and then they just look for, you know, things to react to. And, you know, I guess at that time I was getting a lot of attention, and they're like, oh, this guy must be the guy who has all the Marvel PMGs. But really, if you talk to anybody in the Marvel community, they would laugh. If you said the Great Curator had the best PMG collection and he made the most money on it, they would laugh at you, because that was like not the case at all. I was like a nobody compared to those guys who had all that kind of stuff. And those guys cashed in during that time. I just happened to be making content about it.
Okay. Yeah, I think sometimes oh my gosh, I think my mic completely how's my audio? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. It's
that I feel like kind of goes to, you know, to kind of follow up on that point. That just kind of goes to, I feel like a section of the hobby content creator community, they just love to do like clickbait, you know, and incite rage and make crazy accusations without having any type of facts to back it up, just for content purposes, right? I understand it's a game and people want to get views and stuff like that, but they would just make up stuff and go after whoever was like the hot topic at the time. So like if you were actually going to go after the actual people that had these PMGs and that were causing record sales on Golden and eBay and things like that, if you were actually to go after them, it wouldn't be interesting because they don't make content. You know, it's like these guys were just collectors, right? And they were like, they didn't have any notoriety to their name. They didn't have a big following or anything like that. So that narrative wouldn't have worked. But if you pick out some other guy that has like a little following at the time and he's different, then yeah, that kind of works. So that's kind of like what happened with that. And then that transferred over into everything else. And it kind of died down after a while, but like it did go on for quite a while, like about a year, where these guys were just, coming after me and blaming me for everything. But I often say this, okay? And maybe you give me your thoughts on this, okay? I often say this. If you're going to accuse somebody like myself of pumping up a market and causing people to lose money because they watch my content and they bought into these cards at the peak and they lost money, okay? If you're going to put that blame on me,
okay,
I would also say that you also have to give me credit for all the people that made the money. Okay, because if I was the source of causing all this attention to go into this one market, and people went in there and they lost money, I'm also the source of the people that made money. And I'll tell you this: a lot of people made a lot of money on Marvel PMGs and everything else after that. I know people that like became like millionaires with the PMG collections that they had at that time, and they, these guys, like I said, they weren't content creators or anything like that. They just happened to have these collections when people started to really pay attention to them, and then they cashed out at the right time. But they weren't making content about it, right? They were just living off of it. So
it seems like they had the deeper pockets, but not the biggest platform. You had one of the bigger platforms.
Yeah. Well, not even deep pockets. These guys they're just collectors. Like if you ask these guys how much they spent on their PMG collection, it was like hundreds of dollars. Per card. Like you could buy a green PMG for like a couple $100 at that time, right? And then if you ask them, hey, go buy this other PMG at this current market price of like $5,000, they would say, no way am I ever going to pay for it at that time, because they weren't used to it, right? But these guys were not like, they weren't getting in there. They just happened to have it at the right time, just like in sports cards, pre 2018 or something. The guys that had all the best cards. Just at the right time, they had the cards that everybody wanted, and they were able to cash out on that. But my point is, those guys were not making content about it. They were very quiet about it because they didn't want to draw attention to themselves with all the money that they were making. But I know a lot of guys that made money during that time, and a lot of people have come up to me and thanked me for making content, because they were able to cash out on it and pay off bills and make a lot of money and pay off their student loans and things like that. So I often tell people, if you're going to give me the bad credit, you got to give me the good credit too.
Well, oh my gosh. Yeah, you can hear me, I think. I feel like that would be the fair thing to do, but I also know that life isn't fair. Coaches always get blamed for losses, but they rarely get the accolades for wins. So I totally understand what you're saying. Like, yes, should you get both the credit and also the blame or whatever? Like, like it should be called evenly on both sides. I get where you're coming from, but I also understand that sometimes people just
that goes to my point, is that it wasn't about like whether they were trying to like go against the market or anything like that. It's just that they're just trying to make provocative content to get clickbait and to get views.
Gotcha.
They didn't really care about the facts.
I definitely want to get to the student loans thing, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to reach out to you. The other one is to do a proper intro, but I do have a question up here by Jay, who asks, which I think is a pretty interesting question. Do you still own any Marvel or other PMGs?
Yeah, I've got a whole shelf of them right over here. If you want, I'll pull one out right now for you to see. In fact, I got some pretty good ones I can show you. Want to see?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a video podcast. So while you're looking for those, let's do the quick intro. Welcome to episode 2. Thank you for those who are here coming in a little bit later. I will try to come on to Sundays at 9 p.m. Eastern. It is 6 p.m. Pacific for our guest today, who is in California. The Great Curator has 36,000 plus followers on Instagram, 8,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. He makes interesting, provocative content. He definitely, like I said in my Instagram video promoting this particular episode,
it's not provocative. I just make content. Just people, they take it however they want to take it, but it's not provocative.
Okay, so all right.
Okay. I dare anybody in the chat to go through my content and go through the last 20 posts and tell me if anything in there is like provocative or anything like that compared to all the other guys that do
compared to okay. So
okay, I'm not gonna mention names, but you know.
No, I won't mention names either. Maybe it depends on how many of these doppelbocks I have. But here's the thing: you've recently gone on a run of a lot of Pokemon, kind of like remixing or sharing, like the Pokemon scalpers fighting with each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I've remixed too, and I've used other people's content, and I'll try to give credit when I can. But I've actually taken the other approach where I try to show some civil law orderly proceedings in these Costco's. It seems like either way, whether you show the chaos or the law and order aspect of the Pokemon in Costco, people are really gravitating towards that type of content. But you have shown that, and then after you show the scalpers fighting, you'll show the monkeys going after the bananas.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I just think, you know, personally, I'm not like trying to, I don't know, get views or anything like that. I'm just trying to like, me, it's just, man, it's like, I try not to like get offended by certain behaviors, right? Like if people want to flip, that's fine. If people want to make a profit, that's fine. But when I see like behavior that kind of is a reflection of like society breaking down, I'm just like, dude, you know, this is crazy. I want to shame those people. Basically, I just want to shame those people just a little bit. I'm not trying to like dox them or anything like that. I just want to let them know that this type of behavior is crazy in today's society where you're fighting over Pokemon cards, pushing people over and doing all those kind of things, you know?
Okay. All right. I'm going to put you on solo layout so you can show your PMGs. And the question, I think, Jay, your question was answered. Does he still own any PMGs? He's about to show them right here. Here we go.
So here are a few of my favorites. I got too many to show you, but a couple of them I love here. Here is my Psylocke right there. What year is that? 2013. She's one of my favorite X-Men. And this is a beautiful, beautiful card. Another card that I just have to have. People are gonna make fun of me, but you know, I got it for you know what? This is my Emma Frost card. Beautiful card right there.
I don't know what is it.
This is fucking, look at that, dude. Okay. All right. Let's keep this PG. Okay. Here's my Spider-Man 2099. One of my favorite characters and favorite pieces of artwork, and they made a PNG of it. Recently picked up this baby here. I just couldn't resist. This is a green, my first, no, it's not my first, but my only green PMG currently, Wolverine, graded in 10 by CGC. And perhaps the most valuable PMG in the world. Okay.
Okay.
In the world. Okay. If you're going to accuse me of pumping and dumping, I'm definitely going to admit that this one I will definitely pump to the moon. Okay. Nobody else has this. Nobody. Okay.
Oh my God.
Very coveted in the collecting community. My own PMG created by the renowned custom card artist Piggy Banks. I'm the only person that he's ever done anything like this before. He probably regrets it. It's probably his biggest regret right now, to be honest. But he made it for me, and I have it. And I'm gonna send this to Golden. Probably Golden is not like high enough. Probably like I have to send it like Christie's auction house or something like that to get the full value for this baby.
I'm going to commission him to make me a green PMG and one up you, I think.
Okay. Good luck. Good luck. Okay.
So I got to show my PMGs. This was Pat pulled. I made a content about this. It's a Michael Jordan blue PMG. Pat pulled it from 2023 Skybox Metal Universe. So that is not leaving the PC because Pat pulled it on the day that I was fighting the trolls. And I actually picked this up in Fanatics Fest from Lane, the owner of 130 Point. But it's a Naomi Osaka PMG, red PMG out of 100 in a PSA 8 holder. And I actually have a couple of other PMGs, but they were like kind of like, I don't know, a random tennis player and a random catcher in the MLB. So those were all pack pulled as well. So, but I do not have any Marvel PMGs. PMGs really do just hit different. They I don't know what technology they use, what shine they put on it, but I really have not seen. And I know some people like the 24K mirror gold type of things from like the late 90s and kind of like other gold, gold refractors look beautiful and all that too. But there really is something about the technology or whatever you call it, the je ne sais quoi of precious metal gems.
I have one more to show you, okay? Because I was just showing you the Marvel ones, but I actually have one of the rarest wrestling, pretty much the only wrestling PNG, this Hulk Hogan PNG in a PSA 9, which is a pretty high grade for this type of card here. I got one of these.
Not controversial at all. He is completely huge.
I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Hulk Hogan. He is absolutely beloved.
Leave Hulk alone. Leave Hulk alone. Okay.
Really? Wait a minute. I thought you were a Sergeant Slaughter fan or whatever it was.
I am. I actually have the most valuable Sergeant Slaughter card in existence right now. If you want, I'll show you.
Sure. I mean, how much could a Sergeant Slaughter most expensive card be? I don't even. This cat is driving me nuts.
This is his. What year is this? 2021 Transcendent Superfractor Sergeant Slaughter. So this is the last year that Topps had the license before Panini took it over.
Yep.
This is the third year I think that they did the Transcendent, but they never did the Transcendent Superfractors. So they did it this year. This card is not unlike what people mistaken as like one of ones, like a black one of one would be actually a parallel, right? It shares the same photo as the base card. These Superfractors are actually unique photos. So it's the only one. There are no parallels of this particular photo or anything like that. And they made this in that set. Those boxes at that time cost, if you believe this, $12,000. And they only made like 53 Superfractors from that set. So these things are very coveted among the wrestling collector community. If you have one of these, you're like in the club. So I got Sergeant Slaughter there on card auto, and I paid $1,500 for this a few years ago. And to me, it's priceless.
I mean, it's at least $1,500, but yes, no, it is priceless. So I forgot to do a sponsor read. This podcast episode is not sponsored by Saturday Morning Cards. It is sponsored by the Silver Spring Civic Center's greatest card show, the Mid-Atlantic Card Show on May 3rd, 2025. So come check it out. Ryan might be in the chat. He was our first guest on episode 1. Today we have the Great Curator. He just showed a cornucopia of PMGs that he diamond held. He did not dump. He pumped, because he pumps what he likes. And I haven't. Yeah, he's raising the roof. Why am I not on camera? I totally forgot to take you off solo. This is completely. I am so rusty with this. So we have 12 in the chat here. Thank you all for being live. Curator, I checked out your YouTube content. You haven't posted an actual video itself in a year, but you used to do Between Two Slabs, and you went weekly live with a live chat, and then you had your last episode 2 months ago.
Something like that,
yeah. What made you decide to end a pretty fun, successful live format?
I'm just too busy, to be honest. Like I'm doing Saturday Morning Cards, and the content side it's more like a hobby. I just make it for fun, and sometimes I can monetize it through sponsorships and things like that. But it's not a business or anything like that, really. But I started Saturday Morning Cards, and that's a real business, and that takes up all my time. And it got to the point where I was trying to do both. I was trying to use like my podcast to like give marketing and exposure to Saturday Morning Cards, and it was working out until Saturday Morning Cards started to kind of take off and require more of my time. And it's just like I got to the point where I was taking time away from SMC to go do the podcast, and I'm like, is this really the best use of my time? And I just kind of made a decision. Okay, let's kind of like sunset this. Let's close this chapter of the book so that I can put all my focus into SMC and see how far I can take that. And then if I want, I can always come back and reignite the podcast if I want, or start something new. But right now, all my focus is in SMC.
When did you start, and how many drops have you had so far?
We started, we did our first drop in May last year. So we're approaching our 1 year anniversary. But before that, we were in development probably for like 12 months, almost a year of development, trying to figure out how to do this. But we did our first drop in May, and then we've pretty much kind of been consistent doing at least one drop every month. So I think we've done like 10 or 9 or 10 drops so far, and then not including the exclusive drops that we do when we attend card shows and things like that. But altogether, probably like 14, 15 drops so far.
My understanding is most of the drops are licensed. Like
Oh
you
my God! Look at this! Look at this!
What is this? What, the chat?
This is a first for you. Ask
Oh
and you
my,
shall
you got
receive.
it. You got to be kidding me.
This is what I call. This is what I call the curator effect. Okay,
yeah.
This is what I call the curator effect. Is this the same Ziggy? No, that always like leaves comments for people and stuff. I think he is.
He is a fan of yours.
Yeah, I butted heads with him years
ago.
Here we go. He left some comments, and I blocked him because I didn't want to argue with him. But then I'll give him credit. He did show up to me at one of the nationals, I think in Atlantic City, and apologize, shook my hand. So ever since then, no problem with him at all. But look, he gave you your first super chat sticker, and it's $20, dude. That's a lot. So you better thank him and give him whatever credit.
Well, if he wants to come on the StreamYard, he will be the first calling guest we have in tonight. I know Connor and his friends have jumped on and said snickerdoodle, which I'm still not even sure if that's like a young person's, like if it's a bad thing to say or do. But Ziggy, you are definitely welcome to call in. I'm gonna drop the StreamYard link in. I wanted to have like a one-on-one with the chat, kind of listening in for the first like 30 to 40 minutes, but I will definitely open up the live for everyone. But thank you, Ziggy. I mean, I did not think Ziggy would have been my first super chat. Thank you. Out of that 20, I believe I get $14. YouTube gets $6, and then I guess because you gave it to me because of Dan's appearance, I'll probably have to float him half of that. Okay. So yeah, so he's gonna get $6.
Yeah,
so.
This is called the curator effect.
The curator effect.
Real. The curator effect is real. Everything I touch turns to gold.
Look at this. Penguin says, "Love you, Ziggy." Connor says, "Ziggy the goat." J2, he's having a good time. Penguin says, "Does Ziggy donate more?" And then of course the snickerdoodles are out in full force. So I want to ask you,
can I put this challenge out real quick here? Okay. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but Denny has been, I know Denny wants me to send him some Saturday morning cards. I know he wants to get one of these boxes, but I refuse to send him one for free. I think that he should actually support me as a friend and support my business and order one. He's yet to do it though. But maybe tonight, if you guys are generous, you can crowdfund this for Denny to get enough so that he can make a $30 purchase. It's actually $40 with shipping to get one of these Saturday morning cards in hand. He can do an unboxing, and then maybe he'll give it away on one of his future channels. Okay, so that's the challenge that I'm going to put out to you guys because Denny is his purse is too tight. He's too tight. So let's see if your supporters will crowdfund this for you, and then you turn it into a giveaway.
Well, let me say this. It's not that I didn't want to support. It's that I want to see one in person. Yes. Should I support my friends in the hobby? Yes, absolutely I should. I felt bad when I think it was your second drop. You kind of like was like, what do you think about this Rocketeer? Because we'll talk about the licensing thing. Because some of it's licensed and some of it isn't, right? Mickey Mouse no longer part of the.
Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that! The curator effect is real, guys. It's real. That's $40. That's it.
It's unbelievable.
You gotta buy it now. You gotta go. I think you should go live on the website and buy live. It's SaturdayMorningCards.com, guys. Go on there, buy a box for the crowd. If you want to wait till the end, maybe you get a little bit more money. Maybe you buy two. Okay, maybe you take advantage of the combined shipping. You buy 2 or 3, and then you give it away. Okay, but you better thank these guys. This is big money.
I appreciate J2. I mean, here's the thing. This is completely unexpected. This is not a stage content like some people have accused you of doing. So I am gonna go show my. This is not a sponsored ad. I mean, we have not exchanged any money or.
Look at that! Look at that! SaturdayMorningCards.com, guys. SaturdayMorningCards.com.
SaturdayMorningCards.com. This episode is sponsored by the Mid-Atlantic Card Show. May 3rd is the next show, but Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. I loved Street Fighter 2 as a kid.
Can I ask you real quick? How big is this Mid-Atlantic Card Show? How many tables is this?
I mean, Ryan, you could put it in the chat, but I think the last one was over 120, and there were maybe like 80 vendors from 5 states.
And the promoter Ryan is in here right now. He's one of these guys.
I think he's in the chat. I think he's one
Okay,
of the
Ryan,
12.
listen to this. Okay, Ryan, one-time special offer I'm going to do for you. Since you are the official sponsor of this podcast, if you want to do something special for your show, what I would suggest, if you want to get people to come to your show, I'm sure it's already packed and successful, but you got to give value to your attendees. And one great way to do that is by giving out free stuff. People love free stuff. They will line up just to get a t-shirt sometimes, or a bag, or a canvas bag or something. If you want to do a Saturday morning cards giveaway for your show, I'll give you special wholesale pricing. Contact me. Let me know how many boxes you want to give for the first 20, 30, whatever you want. If you want to take advantage, I'll give you a special one-time wholesale price so you can do some giveaways, just because you are a sponsor of this whatever this is, the Hobby S. Thompson podcast. I know it's like, I know you're throwing away good money here, so I want to try to help you out as much as I can. Okay, contact me on Instagram, send me a DM if you're interested. If you're not, don't worry about it.
This man never stops selling. It's incredible. I am such not a good salesperson. You are like the consummate salesperson. I appreciate that. Smoky Bear. Let me tell you
this, guys. Okay, anybody's watching this, all the kids that watch this. Okay, you want to learn the most valuable skill in the world? Learn how to sell. If you learn how to sell, you can get any job in the world and you'll be fine.
Oh man, this is incredible. The Smoky Bear single card, $30, a case of 20 boxes, 600. It looks like you're currently promoting the Street Fighter 2. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is gone. You do have apparel like hats and shirts. You have stickers. You have Dick Tracy, Winnie the Pooh. What of this is licensed, and what of it are you free? What of this?
The only thing that's not licensed are the public domain or our own characters, like when we do like the holiday sketches, those are mainly our own characters. But everything except Winnie the Pooh, which is classic Winnie the Pooh, public domain, or Steamboat Willie, public domain. And then we'll do some more other public domain characters sometime this year, but everything else is fully licensed, officially licensed. Street Fighter, officially licensed by Capcom. Smokey the Bear, officially licensed by the United States Forest Service, and a portion of all proceeds go towards the charity of wildfire prevention campaign. So this is a good one to buy right here. All our cards are gradable by all the companies: PSA, Beckett, SGC, CGC, all of them. They grade them because they're all legit. We went through the whole entire process. That's why it took us like a year of development, because we had to apply for the proper through the proper channels to get recognized by all the grading companies, and then we had to set up a real business so that we could get all the official licenses. So everything's legit. These are not custom cards. These are not custom art cards or anything like that. This is like the real deal. The thing is, let me just give this plug for people who don't know. Okay, the concept behind Saturday morning cards is basically we took all the elements of the popular elements of sports cards that people love, which is modern chrome design, chase cards, low numbered parallels, and then we combined it with iconic brands and characters from our childhood. My childhood, I make these cards for myself. So I grew up in the 80s, 90s. So you're going to see a lot of nostalgic properties from that era. But basically, these properties have been overlooked for decades. And there's not a huge group of people that collect this stuff, but there are people that love Dick Tracy or Rocketeer or Smokey the Bear or Street Fighter. So we just kind of thought it would be cool to make cards for those people and get them involved in the hobby and give them something to collect. All our cards, let me see if I have one in here. All our cards.
I almost want to mute you because you did not pay for the sponsorship.
Let me open this up right here. Okay. So basically, another aspect that makes our cards unique is that we don't do like traditional hobby boxes or packs or anything like that. You're not going to get a lot of cards that are fluffy, that are that are throwaway cards. All our cards are basically what we call original art, single card design. We commissioned the artwork ourselves. So this is not like reproduced from a still photo or anything like that. It's all our own original artwork. And then we do one card per box. It's what we call a single card blind box design. It's very popular in like toy collecting, which I'm also a toy collector. So I kind of drew from that community. If you ever like collect blind box toys or anything like that, that's what these are. So the premise is you kind of know what you're going to get. You know, you're going to get a Dick Tracy card. You've seen the artwork. So you're not going to like buy something and think to yourself, oh man, I got this crap card, I'm going to throw it away. I think that's a big problem in the hobby right now. So this is my solution to that. You get the card, you know what you're going to get, but we also have the chase element there too, where you could get like a low number parallel or something like that. So it kind of has all the elements of sports card collecting that we love, combined with iconic brands and pop culture IPs.
Man,
One more thing, if I may, one more thing. Also,
yes.
premium box design. But one thing that was very important to me is I wanted to make the price point affordable for people. Honestly, me and my partner, we debated about this for a long time. Honestly, I think we could probably charge $50, $60, $70 and people would buy, one of these, right? But we wanted to make it really affordable for people to have, to be able to collect. So we make it at $30 a box on this. And compared to everything else in the hobby, I think that's a bargain for what you're getting.
So I think this answers the question Jay has. Are there limited print runs? So there are some that are numbered and there are some one-of-ones, right?
Yeah. So every run right now, the model that we have is 1,000 boxes. Out of 1,000 boxes, you're going to have about, like, depending on which release we do, it's probably going to be anywhere between 400 or so, 400, 500 numbered parallels. And then the rest are going to be silver refractors. There are no base cards. The base card is a silver refractor. So even that is a hit in itself. But everything is just 1,000 boxes total, which is very limited compared to everything else out there right now. So it gives a little bit of collectability for people that want to, a little bit of rarity, but there's enough out there for people to, right now there's enough out there for people to be able to get what they want.
J2, I'm going to have to get you one of these, and Ziggy as well. If Ziggy will actually come to a show, he keeps saying he's going to come to the show. Mid-Atlantic asks, Great Curator, comp me 5 SMC boxes and I will let you give them away at no cost for the free marketing at the largest and best card show inside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. So it's kind of like two folks who are like, you will get exposure. Oh, no, you will get exposure. So who is going to win this?
This guy's name is Ryan?
Yes, Ryan.
Okay, Ryan, DM me. I don't want to negotiate with you over the chat right now. You probably don't know me very well, so I don't want to negotiate with you and seem like a hard ass, but just DM me and we'll try to work something out, all right?
No, I think I should be the middleman. I should get a cut out of this deal. I will negotiate on the behalf of both of you. I will mediate this, and I will get a cut, right?
What I think would be a great solution would be, Denny, you should actually purchase a group of, a lot of these boxes. I'll give you the wholesale discount because we're friends. And then you should use that as a giveaway for the show. You could be the special guest of the show, sponsored by Mid-Atlantic Sports Card Show. And then you can walk around, give these to kids, give these to collectors, make content about it. It would be fantastic for you. I'll put you down for like maybe 30 or 40 boxes we'll put you down for, but don't worry, we'll get you the wholesale price and it's going to be great. I think that's the best solution.
Oh my goodness, this guy, he will not stop selling. This is amazing. We got some great emojis in the chat. We got thumbs up from Ryan. We got
you ever seen the movie what's it called, Glenn Ross?
Oh yeah, totally. Coffees
for
closers only.
Yeah, coffees for closers. Okay, never stop selling, always be closing.
Oh, ABC, always be closing. You do not want a set of steak knives. You want to get that car, the convertible.
That's right.
Orange Slices says whatever Ziggy says goes. So here's the thing. I would love to have Ziggy on in a bit here if he wants to come on. No pressure if he doesn't. Ryan, you can come on here too if you want. I will put the StreamYard link in the chat pretty soon. I did want to ask, so you may not want to answer these two questions, but I am going to ask them. Okay. One is, what, like, you're a card company, like you create cards, like what are the margins? Like, do you even want to talk? You want to broach that? I never asked that to you in person. I've never we are kind of maybe going to brass tacks if you please. But like when it comes to the creation of the cards, the box, the promotion, the marketing, like how much, like how does that all work? I think that a lot of people may be curious about, but it's maybe not too hobby hangout-ish where we're like hanging out and just shooting the shit. But the other thing is, someone was asking me to ask about, like, man, like I want to support you, but like all the good hits go to the breakers, and you guys do have some people breaking this product, right?
We barely have anybody breaking this product. What are you talking about? Like good hits, okay? I don't know what to tell you, okay? I mean, we're still very much in our infancy phase right now, so like maybe like 3-4 people break our product, but like they buy like one case, So give me breaks. So I'm not gonna tolerate any kind of like slander of that kind. But To answer your original question,
Yeah,
I don't want to tell you about my numbers. That's kind of like confidential. I do
I
have a
respect it.
partner. I have a partner, and he's very private about like everything that we do. He doesn't do social media content at all. So I just kind of want to respect, uh, uh, his wishes as well by not giving away our business practices.
Yep,
One
I
thing, one
respect
thing
it.
I will say is that what I've noticed is that when we started trying to be legit doing this, right, doing it the right way, setting up this up as a real company and doing all that stuff, there have been a lot of competition in trying to kind of copy ideas, build relationships with the people that we have relationships with, things like that. So it's a very competitive industry for sure. So that's why we can't kind of disclose, our financial information or anything like that. But I can tell you a little bit about the process if you want to know about like what goes into the design concept to where to printing to release. I'm happy to answer any questions like that. I just can't give you guys the specific details
I
because I don't
respect
know
that.
who's watching. I don't know if Michael Rubin is watching this, taking notes
Yes,
and,
Michael Rubin.
and planning to squash me, so I can't.
Yes, Michael Rubin will be sending you a horse's head in your bed for sure. I'm so
I
certain.
wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put it past him.
Oh, okay. So I will get to Army's question. He is in the chat. Thank you for being here, Army. Ziggy asks, "How are the cards doing on the aftermarket? Will PSA grade them?" I think you did answer that second part. Jay agrees. They said yes, PSA will grade. PSA, SGC, BGS, C3 grading. Shout out them also. You don't know who they are, but they've been a partner of my content in the past. So the first question: How are the cards doing on the aftermarket? Do you see any eBay sales? Do you track that? Do you, see people selling them? Trade night. Like, how does that all work?
Sure. Okay. So I'll give you a little bit of interesting perspective here. Okay. So to answer your question real briefly here, yes, they do trade on eBay and the secondary market. Sometimes they go for cheap. Like if you let it run for $1, maybe it goes for like $15, $20, or whatever. I've seen some of the chase cards, the golds, go for like hundreds of dollars. Things like that. I know one of the black one-of-ones sold for thousands of dollars, and I don't want to say
Wow.
because he wants to keep it private, but I don't want to say. But I know they go for a few $1,000s. So
Okay.
it just kind of goes up and down. But here's one interesting point that I kind of want to share with you. So when we first came out with the product, in our minds, we thought to ourselves that, for this to be successful, there has to be a secondary market for this because that is what the hobby is about, right? People really only buy products because they want to be able to make money on it, right? They want to be able to grade it or flip it or whatever. And in the beginning, we were selling to these people and they were buying up our products to do just that. And they were getting secondary values for it. I think one of our cases retail for $600 and somebody bought one of the Winnie the Pooh cases and they sold it on eBay for like $2,000, right? So when we saw that, we were like, oh man, this is crazy. This is great, right? And people were buying our stuff because of the hype around it. But what I quickly learned about this, okay, and this is when we kind of shifted and pivoted our focus, is that we were trying to cater to these businesses essentially, right? Like flippers and whatever, breakers, whatever. We were trying to get them to buy our product so that they can sell it, and we were marketing it to them in the terms of like you can make money on this, basically, right?
Yeah.
And what we learned is that the hobby is like, it's like we're always focused on the next shiny thing, right? So
Yeah.
one moment it could be Saturday morning cards, the next moment it could be whatever the next thing is, right? And we started to see some fluctuations in the demand of our product based on the price. And then when we started to see like eBay sales, which I was tracking, almost every day in the beginning, when we started to see them kind of go closer to the retail and sometimes even below the retail costs, we would see a change in the demand from the people that were buying the most from us from that. Basically they're like, oh, we can't make money off of this anymore. Let's not buy it anymore. Okay. And we were depending on these relationships that we were kind of cultivating at that time to buy 5-10 cases, right? And then when that went away, we were kind of like left scrambling because what we realized is that although in the beginning we were focused on showing off the secondary value, the pool of buyers was very small because people were hoarding the product. And then when those people decided that they can't make money on it anymore and they left, the pool of buyers that we had was very small. We had a small group of collectors that were kind of like just starting to buy our product. And it left us having to kind of scramble and market a lot more to be able to move product before we got the next shipment in. And that's when we decided, you know what, this doesn't make sense for us, right? As a retailer, it doesn't make sense for us to pay attention to the secondary market value because, you know, we don't share in that value. We sell our standard box for $30. If it sells for $60, you know, on the secondary market, we don't benefit from that. We don't make any type of royalty or percentage on that, right? And, you know, it's like we were so focused on that we lost track of what our original intention was. I said this in the beginning of your pod, is that we wanted to make this a very affordable product for collectors to buy. Yeah. And we price it at $30, right? So anybody can buy it for $30. Anybody can buy it. But when these were selling out, and then the secondary market, the breakers were selling these for like $60 a box, that was a problem because people were having to pay $60 to get this. And if you think about it, they could have, you know, we don't share in that $60, right? So if they would have just come to us, they could have bought 2 boxes for $60 instead of 1 box. And that's how we benefit. So we kind of shifted our focus away from paying attention to the secondary market. You know, honestly, we don't care about that at all because we don't get any type of benefit from that. And we just focus right now. We've been in the last like 4 or 5 months or so, we've been focused on building our collector base versus building our, you know, worrying about breakers or retail shops or anything like that. We want to try to build a large community of collectors that we don't need them to buy a whole case of 20 boxes. We don't need them to buy 5 boxes. We just want them to buy one box for their collection. And that's been the approach that we've been taking.
Before I read some of the comments, I wanted to ask you and the chat, like, I don't know if you would consider that market manipulation, but it seems like people are able to sway the prices depending on what they release out on the market. It kind of reminds me of like Rudy from Alpha Investments, who has such a stranglehold on, you know, he's one of the largest like distributor, or I guess he's not a distributor, but one of the biggest buyers of product that he can actually affect the market. But you know, it's really interesting. I don't know what the chat thinks about it, but I will read some comments here.
Can I just comment on that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like, I would say, I guess that is a valid point that people can manipulate certain markets, especially with ours. We only have 1,000 boxes per release. So somebody with big pockets, if they want to come in and, you know, and drop, you know, we do 1,000 boxes at $30. So if you want to drop 30 grand, you basically control the whole market. And that's what we kind of noticed was kind of happening to a certain extent. And again, it's like from a business point of view, we don't want to rely on like one person or a group of people to buy all our product. It's less work for us, yes, right? But those people then control us. So we kind of shied away from doing that. We started limiting the allocation for certain people.
Oh,
and then we, you know, tried to like branch out and capture more customers to buy direct from us. And then we changed our pricing model to where we started a wholesale program. So people that buy from us can buy at the wholesale price, and then they have to list it close. They have to list it at least at the retail price or very close to that. They can't like price gouge and charge like double the price or anything like that, which what they were doing before, because they'll be competing with our website and they just won't work. So we've kind of like learned how to do these things over the past couple months to kind of help control the market a little bit, our market, and allow our collectors that support our product to be able to easily buy our product.
I literally just came up with this. I've never shared this. I hope you take it the right way. Please don't get offended. I have a new nickname for you. It's Michael Rubinwin.
Okay, I think we might have to work on that a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to come when you said limited allocation. That's really interesting. Like that, you are a card company. Like that's pretty interesting.
I mean, I never thought about this stuff, but like it happened. You know, like people were buying our stuff out, and then suddenly they were charging a lot for it, and then people were getting pissed at us, right? And we're just thinking to ourselves, like, well, we can't control that, right?
It's true.
We can't control it, but in the future, we made adjustments to make sure that everybody can get it.
I will get to Ziggy's very good thread, and again, if he wants to come on, I will put the StreamYard link real here real soon. Army ATC, man, he found out about the live somehow. I have him blocked on Instagram.
It's time to call a truce, okay? If Ukraine and Russia can call a ceasefire, you guys can do this too, okay? Please call a truce. Make up for the sake of the Curator and Saturday Morning Cards, please.
There's a lot of people who want us to just kind of bury the hatchet. I'm willing to. I've given him so many chances. Okay, he says I just bought the pre-sale of my favorite Street Fighter Ryu. He is probably mine too. I will admit that's a really nice. Let me solo lay out that. He says I also have 4 other SMC. Army says just buy them, kind of like the Nike slogan, just do it, just buy them. Is that the silver refractor up there?
Yes, I haven't shown this off yet. This is a sample version. It says sample right there. But this is the silver refractor. This is our version of a base card. So no paper cards, no non-refractors. Everything's going to be a refractor. And this is the Ryu. And this is what everybody was talking about. Everybody was asking about this. So this is coming out in about 2 weeks. It's on pre-order right now. So you can buy single boxes, or you can buy the case. Let me show you what the single boxes look like.
The case is what, 10 or 20?
10 boxes, and
10
it's
boxes.
$600. So
100 cases, $600. Wow.
This is our normal box. Okay, it's one card.
Okay, here we go.
The Street Fighter is two cards that come in this. So this is priced. The normal card is priced at $30 a box. This is priced at $60. So same cost per card, and you get 2 cards in here. So $60.
Because the second one is Sagat.
Yeah, it's a versus series. So this is a video game version. This is not the actual box. I'm just going to show you. This is like a prototype, but it opens up like this.
Right. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Right. And then these will be in encased in custom printed one touches. And then it's like this was the volume 1 Gao versus Zangief. Volume 2 is going to be Ryu versus Sagat. It's right here. Man,
if Army's favorite Street Fighter character is Ryu, like mine, I go from Ryu to Ryu. We'll talk. Okay. Maybe he'll jump on the live stream. Maybe you can broker that piece, treaty, Dan. Yeah. But until then,
these are meant to be like you stack these up on your bookcase or anything, something like that. So this is volume 1 that came out back in December. Volume 2 is coming out in a couple weeks. So you're gonna want to get these so that you can kind of stack them up. And then we do like specials and stuff. Like we do like convention specials where it's a different color pattern.
Yeah, the
like
Winnie the Pooh, the pink one. Okay.
Yeah.
So Ziggy says, all right, let's get to the chat a little bit. Okay. Ziggy says, sounds like a mini Zero Cool pop culture product. I think Zero Cool was a great idea, terribly executed. I mean, I've heard of it. I mean, I never bought any Zero Cool, but yeah, they had the license for I think Stranger Things, and Josh Luber's done. What is it? Jackass. Yes.
And something else. I forget.
Right. Yeah. Right. Ziggy says, I'd be happy to help you make a quote unquote breakable product. Most pop culture is not breaker friendly. What, you have any comments to that one?
Well, I don't know what you consider breaker friendly, but I feel like
good question.
I feel like I have made this as breaker friendly as I can, and I'll tell you. Okay. So for the Street Fighter, for example, there are 10 boxes in a case that somebody would buy. Of those 10 boxes, 7 of those boxes are going to be unique hits. So 7 out of 10 boxes are hits. 3 of those will be the silver refractors. So that's like a 70% chance to get something cool, right? And each case has a case hit, which is a guaranteed gold in there. So because I just want people to be happy and get what they want. So we just try to make it as collector friendly as possible. So I mean, if there's some secret sauce beyond that, I don't know, but we're giving like 70% hits here. So
wow.
What more do you guys want?
Ziggy says redemptions, they have value if used properly. I'm very interested in I would, maybe Ziggy does have to jump on, but the redemptions in a pop culture licensed product. I mean, I know people don't like the autographs of like the what's it called, like the Disney characters, but yeah, maybe he can explain that a little bit more. Ziggy also says, have you talked to Sports Card Dad about these? He loves pop culture, 90s, etc., and he's always looking for advertising sponsors. Ziggy with the zing. Look, here's the thing. I
would never pay for his advertising. No offense to Dustin, but I would never pay for that.
Here we go. Ziggy, of course, with his alt account, commercial-free sports card dad. I would love to help sports card dad and commercial-free sports card dad bury the hatchet as well. I like playing Peacemaker as well. Jay asks, how often do you plan on doing drops, Dan?
We try to do a drop once a month, and we're trying to scale up right now to do 2 drops a month.
Two drops
So
a month. Okay.
yeah. But it's
Is that
hard work,
us?
it's like,
Hard work, yeah.
just to
Artist, you got to pay the artist, right? I mean, you got to
yeah.
pay for, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't even know if you want to get into that whole drama. Let's not go into that drama about that one guy who you called out for, not delivering the product. Uh, any Brazil, I don't know what that means. Chris Sweet says, coming from a 40-something here, did you guys play Street Fighter 2 at an arcade or other place? I definitely played arcade. I had the quarters out. You put your quarter on the machine to signify your next turn. Gas station, laundromat, where you place your quarters up on the machine to claim next. Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I just kind of read that.
For me, I used to play at 7-Eleven during my breaks from after-school tutoring sessions, and then I also had it on Nintendo or Sega, one of those consoles that I had it on. Probably Sega. I think I would play it both.
Yeah. Oh, Brazil, Blanca, the green guy with the fast punch from Brazil. Yeah, Blanca.
Yeah, so this is Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. Okay, this was the first game where you could play all 12 characters. So Street Fighter 2 is where the 12 classic characters, but 4 of them are bosses that you can't play. Street Fighter Champion Edition, this is where you could be like Bison, Vega, Balrog, and I'm missing somebody, Sagat, right?
Yes.
So we're gonna have all the first 12 characters, and if the series does well, then we'll do the next 4 characters, Cammy, DJ, and the 2 other guys, and then who knows? We'll take it as far as we can, as long as the people are buying the cards.
All right. So Ziggy says, I didn't block Dusty. He blocked me. I have no issue. Dusty doesn't like me calling out his lack of real experience. He should man up and debate me. Okay. I say I might regret this, but here you go. I am putting the StreamYard link into the chat. In the meantime, Ziggy says, how did you get licenses for Street Fighter? We're about an hour in. Dan, I don't know how long we have you. I really appreciate this. This is you're getting you and I have not exchanged any cards or money, free product, anything.
He hasn't supported me at all, guys.
I have not. I want to get to that. I feel so bad. I remember the Mickey the Mouse one was pretty cool. I was like, oh, finally he's public domain. I've actually shared with Dan kind of like, hey, here's some public domain things that are coming up for expiration real soon. Something with Batman and whatever, Joker. And he was like, thanks. But then he showed me this Rocketeer one, and I feel so bad because I remember this is when our relationship turned a little bit sour for a moment. He sent it to me in a very earnest, eager, like, hey, what do you think? And I feel so bad. I did LOL. I laughed, and I was like, what is this? Because I didn't grow up with Rocketeer. I don't know the Rocketeer IP.
That was actually our bestseller. Sold out the quickest.
Well, I have terrible taste. I
have made money, guys. I offered him a case. He could have made it easy. He could have made it easy at that time.
You did. Okay, you did offer me. Yes, you did. You were very kind to say, "Hey, I'm going to give you a juiced case," and I said, "Look, I don't play. I don't. I have integrity." No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say anything.
Can I just put this one thing in here? I don't mind hanging out with you. But if the chat gets a little bit too crowded, I might step out. I just don't like to be, in big chat rooms and things like that because I have other stuff I got to take care of. But if it gets too crowded, I might step out.
Get too crowded? What do you mean? Like no one's in the backstage right now? You mean like if there's too many people who want to come onto the camera?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, no one. Okay, so the StreamYard link, as far as I know, is clickable, linkable. Let me know if it isn't, folks in the chat. Thank you so much. We're about an hour in. Ziggy asks, how did you get the license for Street Fighter? I don't know if he's gonna, if he wants to answer that. His follow-up is it hard to get access to license and manage their revenue expectations? I really like that question.
Yes. Short answer is, well, you got to approach these companies and get a licensing agreement with them. It's very hard. You got to go through a lot of channels to go through it, and they don't give a license to anybody. Like if you're just like Denny,
what?
They're not going to give you a license because they enter into contracts with people and they expect you to be a legit business and be able to perform on the promises that you're making, right? So if you're going to say, okay, we're going to do a release, they expect you to do the release. So that's why they don't do license agreements with everybody. Plus, they have to protect their own brand. So they're not going to license it out to people that are going to do like inappropriate content or anything like that. And it is very difficult. That's like probably the hardest part of this game. That's like the biggest barrier of entry, to be honest. I think from my own experience.
Do you know that Michael Jordan is my childhood sports idol and that he is a very petty person who takes any small perceived slight and tries to make himself better? So you have just planted in my head that I am going to try and create a Sunday evening cards,
Good luck to you.
and I am going to crush
I'd love to see it.
Saturday. Jay
I'd love
says petty is good. Jay said, okay, so
you
Ziggy
have
asks,
bankruptcy law, okay?
Curator, I have a hobby. This is Ziggy saying this. I have a hobby shop in Playa del Rey. Are you close? I'll be in LA Tuesday to Saturday.
You own a
Ziggy,
hobby
come on the
shop?
chat. Yeah, I didn't know this either. I thought he was in my. I thought he was in the DMV. Like,
Playa del Rey. Oh, that's in the LA area.
Jump on the chat. Yeah.
I mean, we're based in Orange County. You know, I mean, if you want, you can carry it. You can carry it in your shop if you want.
DM him unless you've blocked him on Instagram.
Probably.
The chat is open. I mean, the StreamYard link is live in the chat. So if anyone wants to jump on, this could be your opportunity to talk to the Great Curator if he has blocked you on Instagram, and you can say, "Hey, how come?" Everyone's been really respectful. First of all, thank you. I really was worried that this might be a little bit too wild and crazy, but do you miss like the people making? I know you don't miss people making hit pieces on you or like criticizing you, but you know, with people go after the people with the highest, you know, with the largest platforms, and you did create a good platform, and they did come after you. I don't know if you would call them the haters or the trolls. I think some people feel like they were just trying to hold you either loser
Losers.
Okay. Losers. This one dude who's like called like the Reckoning or something. I googled. I put in. I don't know if you knew this, but YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world behind Google. So I put in your name into YouTube search engine, and it was interesting that your own content was not the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 search the results. It was like AIH, Dan the Card Man, Sports Star Radio, and like Sports Card Reckoning or something
Losers.
like that. And,
all losers.
Man,
those guys
just want to stoke the fire.
They at the when this first started to happen, since if you want to open up this can of worms, okay, let me tell you. Let me
look. Ziggy just sent another 20. I think he wants to hear.
That's $60. You have enough, Denny.
No,
you have enough to buy a Street Fighter box now.
J2 was the other one. J2 was the other 20.
Okay,
Ziggy is at $40
now. You better buy a Street Fighter box. You can buy Volume 1 or Volume 2.
I'm trying to get them for free for Ryan. Okay, we'll have to see. Ziggy says, "Cheers to you both. I enjoyed this. Hope to DM later." All right, so let's spill the tea. Let's get into the if we call this the hobby drama, the hobby hate, the hobby positivity versus hobby negativity crew, and all that stuff. The floor is yours.
So let me just say this: these losers, man, and I used to call them trolls, but they're losers, because if you think about it, okay. How much time does it take to plan content, to shoot content, to edit content, to upload it, to manage it, all that stuff, right? How much time does it take to do that? Now, just think all those videos that those losers made about me for a better part of a year, 2 years or something. All that time that they spent focusing on me, and not to mention probably doing a little bit of research by watching my content to look for things to try to catch me on, right? All that amounted to nothing, because those guys tried to cancel me or whatever they tried to do, and it didn't work. They wasted all their time. I never gave them the time of day. I never went on their show. I never gave them my platform. I barely ever mentioned their names at all, right? But to them, basically, I took over their channels for a period of time where I show up on a lot of their content, right? So to me, that they're losers because they waste time, dude. When you get to a certain point in your life, you realize that your time is worth something, right? You stop trading you stop thinking about trading your time for money and start trading your money for time. Whoa. Because it becomes more important to you. Thanks. And I always used to laugh at whenever I saw a piece of content come up about me, because I just think to myself, man, one day these guys are going to look back on this and be like, man, why did I waste time talking about that guy? Right? Like, all of them, none of those guys have ever met me, I doubt that they ever really pay attention to my content beyond, superficial things. Never talked to me, but yet they wasted, probably, weeks of their life, collectively, weeks of their life trying to come after me and it amounted to nothing. So I call those guys losers. Okay.
So,
But
yeah,
go ahead.
okay, but no. So I did even I don't even I don't call my hobby detractors losers. So I think you may be stoking the flames a little bit
I
here.
thought losers. Okay, I'll just say that.
So
There. Okay? But here, let me
2 years ago.
I'm sure this will get back to
Oh
some
my
of them,
God.
right? And they'll be like, "Oh, I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna watch his latest video and I'm gonna jerk off to it, and then I'm gonna make a little video
What?
in response to this,
What?
right?" Okay.
What?
Here's
Oh my
let me give
gosh.
you a little bit of game, okay, guys.
Oh my
Let me give you a
goodness.
little bit of advice.
The explicit warning is on.
Some
What?
of those
Okay,
guys are
what is
crazy.
about to happen here?
Some of those guys are actually crazy, like the sports
What?
card reckoning guy. Okay, he's got like
Okay.
some mental issues. Fine, I leave him alone.
Okay.
Other guys are content creators, just like you, just like
Okay.
me, right?
Okay.
Content
Yeah.
creators.
Yep.
And here's the thing: there's two types of content creators. There's the guys that will make fun content, show off their collections, try to be generally positive, right? And
Yeah.
then there's the other people that make provocative content or try to position themselves as like watchdogs, right?
Yes.
And some of
Yes.
those guys, and you do a little bit of both, right? But
Yeah.
I think that if you think about it, a fair thing to say would be it's harder to make good positive content, right? Because you got to be creative. You got to think of funny skits to do. You've got to be able to make jokes. You got to be able to, go out to card shows and film content and show things off. You got to spend money to be able to show off things, mail days and things like that. It's harder and it takes more effort to make positive content. But negative content, super easy, dude. Everybody can do that. Everybody can criticize people for whatever reason, right? Everybody can clip something and then make a reaction video framing it in a certain way to make it look bad and try to incite people to get pissed off.
So,
I can just finish my point.
Yeah, please.
Those guys, they chose to make lazy content, and they chose to be provocative and get people to follow them based on what I call creating false grievances, right?
Okay.
When you go around and you talk about people that you don't know, or you talk about things that you don't know anything about, and you try to get people to be pissed off about it so that you can get views, so that you can get comments, so you can get engagement based off of that. And basically, it's like we see this in politics, right? We see this in like the different type of news agencies out there. They do the same thing. They play on people's emotions. And I think that's what a certain segment of these guys like to do within the hobby, and they position themselves that way. Okay. And I know why they do it. They do it because just like everybody that makes content, you, myself, everybody, we do it because we want to gain a following, right? We want to get some type of feedback, some type of notoriety where we can gain a following, gain some type of validation for the effort that we put in when we do this. And then at some point, we hope that we can maybe monetize that. We get a sponsorship, we get comp, free merchandise, we get whatever, right? Ad revenue, right? We all hope that we can do that at some point. That's why we spend so much time to do this. But the thing that these guys don't understand is that, or that they won't understand until they're deeper into it, is that the ad revenue is very small, right?
Yeah,
you need like millions of viewers to
Right.
be able to make a couple $1,000s. Like
Yes.
you need to be on like Mr. Beast level to really make money on ad revenue. Okay. So the other way that people monetize this is they either have a product that they sell or they get some type of sponsorship and things like that. And I am of the firm belief, and I could be wrong, there could be people out there that care about this stuff, but I'm of the firm belief that companies don't want to sponsor, watchdogs or people that are going to talk shit about other people or people that are going to try to incite violence or anything like that within the hobby. I just don't think like Golden Auctions is going to sponsor any of these guys, right? Or Tops or anything like that, based on the type of content that they're doing. So they're actually, so if you look at it from like a timeline, right? They thought to themselves, I'm going to make content. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to choose the easiest, laziest path I can. I'm going to build a lot of following because people watch my stuff. But then they pigeonhole themselves into a certain point where they're like the negative guy. They're the watchdog that people don't want to piss off or whatever, and they can't monetize it. And they're spending so much time making content that they have to make this decision. Do I continue to spend all my free time and then extra making content and not making any money? Or do I just dedicate myself to some other job or some other hobby where I can make, money for my time, right? Where they're trading their time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're gonna get to that point where they can't do anything. Okay. So my advice to these guys is stop talking shit. If you have a beef with somebody, you can play out your beef on social media if you want, but stop picking on people, stop talking shit, unless you're gonna be a real journalist and do research like Darren Rovell, where he took down the card porn guy. Do real research and write a real article and be a real watchdog. Okay. Most of these guys don't even get close to anything like that. Don't waste your time doing that. Instead, try to make content something else. Try to make informative videos if you like, and then you can build up your following, and then you can position yourself as an expert on something within the hobby, and then you can monetize.
Thank you for that. There's a lot to unpack there. I feel like Ziggy here is bearing his hobby soul in the chat, so I'm gonna read some of this. So I agree with what Ziggy is saying here. He says, and it's not just because he's the first super chat person, which again I much appreciate. Ziggy says, "Not all. You're thinking black and white. I only wanted a voice. I wanted to be heard, not about the money or sponsor."
I'm not talking about you, Ziggy. I'm not talking about you.
So, and me too. Like I very much admit. I've always said this about content creators. I think people do it for one of the two following things, or both. It's money or ego. I think that, especially like someone like me who's like middle age and is trying to figure out like what, like I try to have some of these cards fill a void from my childhood and buy cards that I never could get as a kid or never knew as a kid. Like there's a part of me that is trying to fill a void. And also, I think in the end, a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us just want to feel like that we're making some sort of difference or impact in the world, or that we have a voice in the proceedings. And sometimes when we feel like we're screaming out in outer space where no one can hear you scream, like we just want to feel like we're not even like egotistically important, just that we matter. I think that's ultimately the thing that we all want. So Ziggy says, laziest is subjective. I think many invested lots of time and effort and then were upset at the lack of response. There's some great content with sub 1,000 subscribers. I would like to think that I have some pretty decent content and I am sub 1,000, so I get that. Ziggy says money or influence. And above, Ziggy said sports card wreck or something. I agree. He didn't like me either. And they are jealous. Envy is the string in the hobby. It's probably the hobby's biggest sin. Man, that's quite a. I kind of agree with that. There's a lot of flexing and a lot of people who are like maybe unhappy in their lives and just they derive a lot of sense of self-worth from their cards or their collections or their prominence in the hobby. That's not what Ziggy said. That's what I said. Ziggy says we watch others rip, open, flip, etc., and think, why not me? Why him? It's a human insecurity. I've been guilty myself. Man, look at this like vulnerability by Ziggy. I've never seen
this. That's what $40 gets you guys. It gets you a platform to voice your opinion.
Yes. Penguin says you're him. Jay earlier said you're a great interviewer, Denny. Thank you so much. Ziggy says you won't be sub 1,000 long. Yeah, here's the thing about I want to mention this. Ziggy says rock star, billionaire, US president, fame, money, or power. We have and this is not a knock on Michael Rubin and Michael Rubin, but he is a billionaire and he is on social media and he reads the comments, he wants the engagement, he likes the likes. I mean, he wants the adoration, he certainly has the respect and the money. Like he has the people who are who adore him from the sports world. They're in his stuff, and he's beloved by some, but not everyone, and not by like a lot of people in the hobby who just feel like he's out here to destroy the hobby. But I gotta say, like, even like someone like him, it just goes to show you can be a billionaire and just have people who are just like, you could be trying your absolute best to try to like have your heart have like have good intentions and yet still just fall flat. So, or not live up to people's expectations. So I just wanted to say that. Jay says, what if you don't go for the money? What if you got back into cards because you got hurt at work and saw all the bullshit going on within the hobby? Jay, bearing his soul here too, man. He's like, what
Let
if?
Let me clarify to this, okay?
Go ahead. Yep.
People that get in and start making content, they don't get in to make money right away. They don't even understand the concept of it, right? You just start making content, you get a little following, and like you said, your ego kind of feeds off of that. But when you get to a high level of making content, like on a daily basis, making videos, posting, you start to devote a lot of time to that. And then you start to ask yourself, man, I'm putting in 30 hours a week making this content. Am I going to get anything out of it? I'm getting like 100 views. Is it worth my time to do that when I could be working an extra shift at work, where I could be doing something else, flipping cards to make money? So at some point, everybody gets in to originally just to get it for fun, right? But you get to a point where if you're a high level enough where you're making enough content, you start to have to ask yourself, I have to find a way to monetize this in order for me to justify the amount of time that I'm putting into this. And that's where a lot of these guys are. Okay, so that's an important distinction there, Jay.
Yep. And Jay says, I have nothing else to do getting paid. LOL, you're all stuck with me. Jay, he definitely likes to, call, I don't know if he considers himself a watchdog, but he definitely makes some, especially on TikTok, I've seen controversial, or he definitely is not afraid to speak his mind. So I'll give him that for sure. So Ziggy, Army, no one is in the chat. You know what? I mean, not in the chat. No one is in the backstage. I've been monitoring it. There was this one, I think he's a high schooler. I think he had the name Snickerdoodle because he wanted to get onto the chat. He was on here last week. I didn't mind if he wanted to come on. It would have been the first time ever in the history of the hobby that there would have been 3 Asian people on a hobby StreamYard because the kid was Asian.
No, I don't think so. I think there's those guys, 5 guys from like Canada or something.
Oh, it's true. Three Asian Americans, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes, they are Asian. I did not know that when I first heard them because they just see, oh, here he is. Ziggy says, I'm shy. Yes, I'm sure you are. Here's the Snickerdoodle. I'm going to bring him on stage. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I might, based on what happened.
Goes on. I'll step out. I'll let you guys talk.
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. I forget your real name, but go ahead, Snickerdoodle.
Yep, my name is Snickerdoodle.
So you collect Pokemon, I know that. And we have do you have any Pokemon cards you want to show us, or do you have any takes on the market? Have you fought anyone in Costco, Target, Walmart, 7-Eleven?
Not yet.
Okay. Are you like I mean, what is this? What's coming up? Journey Together? Like, I mean, these scalpers are, I mean, Dan, I know you guys haven't met each other. Dan, this is, I forget your real name, but Dan, this is Snicker. Snicker, this is Dan. He has made content on Instagram showing these people losing their basic human decency over trying to make a $10, $20 profit. What do you think?
I think it's kind of ruining the fun of the hobby.
So it is a hobby.
I agree with that, Penguin, yeah.
Do you flip? Do you go to card shows?
No, I haven't gone to a card show. I don't really flip or anything. Okay. I kind of just open them.
You open them at home. You don't like do pack openings at home. Like you don't post that content. You just like privately open it.
Yep, just with friends like Penguin and Connor.
Okay. Do you have any questions for Dan, the Great Curator?
What's your favorite type of like TCG? Is it like wrestling or Marvel?
Well, wrestling does have a TCG, doesn't it? I was about to say they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really play any TCGs, but I would say if I had to pick one, probably Pokemon. That's one I know the most about, but that's not saying very much right now. I'm more of a collector. You know, I like Marvel cards and Star Wars cards and wrestling cards, but not the TCG stuff. But I'd probably say Pokemon's the coolest, just because I like the artwork.
What's your just favorite to collect, I guess?
My favorite thing to collect right now, I would say, in terms of cards, wrestling cards are the ones that I spend a lot of money on. But the favorite type of cards to collect right now are going to be sketch cards. I love like every type of sketch cards because we do a lot for Saturday morning cards. But I also collect like Marvel sketch cards and things like that. So that's pretty fun. But I'm actually shifting away from cards a little bit and getting into more like original artwork, like comic book artwork, original animation cells, things like that right now.
Snicker, great questions. I'm actually happily surprised. You are not that I thought this was going to go terribly bad, but I thought that this is just going to be a little bit of trolling. But let me ask you, who has better hair, Dan or me?
Obviously you, Denny.
Yeah, thank you. Good answer. Good answer. I'll have you on next week then again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Look at this. 3 Asians, 3 different generations. I gotta say, because
How
here's the
old are
thing.
you, Snicker?
Yeah, go ahead.
How old are you?
13.
13. Okay. I probably wouldn't go around asking 13-year-olds how my hair looks, Daddy, if I were you.
These kids. Well, I didn't know he was 13. I literally thought he was like 16. Oh, forget that. Here's the thing. Thank you for being on. You are welcome on because you're a respectful young man. Who do you think looks older, by the way, between me and Dan?
I think that's when I should leave. Thank you for having me, though.
Okay. Thank you, Snickerdoodle.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, I cannot believe Dan is actually younger than me based on the way the two of us look. But I will say he's actually been quite a helpful person. I think that pretty soon I'll leapfrog him in influence and all that in the hobby. But
Can I just say one thing? 2 years ago, during a dinner in Atlantic City, I was kind enough to invite Denny to have dinner with me and my friends at the National. And man, you made this comment. I thought it was so rude at the time. You said you were like living on this cloud nine vibe because you had like, I don't know, 3,500 followers or something. You're going around telling everybody you're like the hottest person in content in the hobby. You look like a total fool, guys. He was just going up to people with this that microphone that he's holding right now. He was going up to people with this microphone, trying to interview them at the National, just like looking like a fool. But at dinner, he had the audacity to look at me with a straight face and say, "Man, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna feel when I overtake you in followers this year?" Yeah. And I looked at him. Yeah. I was taken aback that he would say something so rude to me, but my initial reaction was to laugh in his face, guys. At that time, I think I had like 10,000 followers and he had like 3,500. And now fast forward 2 years later, I'm at 36,000 and I think you're at like 10,000 or something like that. Yeah. So
numbers don't matter.
Just wait one more year. One more year.
One more. Exactly. I got the youths behind me. All right. Here's the thing. Okay. I got the next generation. Sure. You have like the older people. They're gonna be retired.
I saw that little statistic thing that you put in there. We have the same age graphic of people that follow us. So don't hide behind that, Denny. Okay.
No. Here's the thing. First of all, Dan, that was Rosemont, Chicago. That was Fogo de Chao in Rosemont, not Atlantic City. Because I was kind of like I had my toes dipped into the hobby pool in 2022 of August, but or July, whenever it was in Atlantic City. But I was actually in the National in 2012 when it was in Baltimore. So just saying. Okay.
Well, I was in the National in 1996 when it was in Anaheim. So
dang. you okay? All right. So, Snickerdoodle, you want to stay on? It looks like Brady wants to come on. Zigga was in the backstage and then he kind of left. I'm sorry I didn't bring him on right when he came on. Brady, welcome to.
Hi. What's up?
You can't eat chips. What are you eating? Chips? The microphone's gonna pick all of that up.
It's right over here, though. It's like really far away.
All right, so Pokemon, TCG, what are we doing? Dan is looking like he's texting someone he wants to get out of here. Well, Ziggy's got to come on though. I'm gonna have to boot Snicker and or Brady if Ziggy wants to come on because he actually paid money. But Brady, what's up?
Nothing. I just share.
Okay, all right. He's a Pokemon.
Don't ever come on this stream again. Like unless you like Snickerdoodles.
This is crazy. These kids have Dartmouth and James Madison T-shirts. So they're future budding, college students. They want to get into Dartmouth and James Madison, or maybe their older sibling is matriculating through. Is that right?
My dad.
My mom went to James Madison.
There you go. Pokemon scalping? Yes, no. Collecting?
No. Except when I do it, then it's cool.
Okay.
You don't like? Never mind.
Do you have any questions for Dan?
My Roaring Moon's almost done. That's exciting.
Oh, he submitted a Roaring Moon SIR to GameStop for PSA grading. So I definitely wish you luck on that.
It's getting researched and ID'd right now. It just finished that.
Research and ID.
I think it's getting graded like right now.
Gotcha.
Danny, do you think it's better to like wait to open your box and then check the grade, or just check the grade online?
I mean, Dan, do you want to? How do you do your grade reveals? Do you do them? Do you do the preview, or do you like to do the blind?
I can't wait. So when I get the email, and then I'll just check it.
I think that 95% of the hobby is so impulsive that we cannot wait. We just want immediate, as quick as we can get it. Because also you've been waiting for so long. You just want to know. So I'm guilty of that too. I think that going forward, I just feel that some people like to call it a blind reveal, but it's actually not a blind reveal. Like they want to fake content, which actually I do want to ask Dan about these accusations about stage content and all that, because some people did want to ask me about that. But I think that when people try to like fake the surprise when they know what the grades are, that's kind of like what do the kids call it, like sus or whatever it is. So I don't think that's cool. Yeah, Jay says blind reveal is for content.
Oh yeah, I already looked at mine. As soon as I saw it, I looked, and it
What'd you
was
get?
a 9. I got a 9 on like the
sorry.
new shiny Charizard.
Sorry, dude. I mean,
if I get a PSA 10 on my Roaring Moon, I'm investing it all back into Pokemon.
That's gotta spin the rule. Gotta spin the gotta pull the handle again for the thing.
I could either lose it all or win even more big. So
yeah, I gotta boot you for the eating of the chips, man. It's too hard for me.
Yeah, it has to be Snickerdoodles.
Dan, I don't want to lose our guest because Ziggy, where are you? Where did Ziggy go? I thought he was going to come on.
I think he just doesn't like us. Maybe we should leave.
Well, thank you guys for being here. We're almost at the hour and a half mark. This is crazy. I don't want to overextend. I don't want to have our guest feel like he has to stay for too long. Do you miss Between Two Slabs, Dan?
I miss having like a platform for me to like air out my thoughts on a weekly basis, but honestly, I mean, I took that for like 2 years as far as I could take it. And if I didn't have anything else going on in the hobby, or like if I didn't have SMC, then I would continue to probably do it. But I don't miss the time commitment of it, because it, even though it was a live show like this and it doesn't take a lot of prep to do, it still takes time. Like I'd have to take time out of my Tuesday to like stop what I'm doing and then just kind of do this for a couple hours. And sometimes I'd have to like not have dinner with my family or stop working to make the time to do this, because I was trying to be consistent for everybody. So that I don't miss at all. But it's nice to have like a little platform to be able to like say if something happens, to be able to tell a story, or if give an opinion about whatever the weekly controversy in the hobby is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I do miss the show. I remember watching it quite frequently. The chemistry that you and Merlin have, and the chemistry that I see some of these other podcast hosts or creators have, I think is definitely makes me kind of like I'm not very envious of many things or many people, but when I see the chemistry between two co-hosts of a hobby podcast, it definitely makes me feel like, man, I wish I had that. But you are, welcome anytime you want to. I do want to get you on a couple of questions before I let you go, if that's okay. Sure. And then I'm going to get to Mid-Atlantic Ryan's question, because I have the middleman, the broker of the deal here. But I don't want to get too like serious or controversial about this stuff. But basically, like the stage content, right? Because some people, I don't know if it's like unresolved because you never address it, or you did address it. I know
stage content. What is this?
Daps, you guys were sitting around in a table with I think Prism God as well, and to clarify on that, okay, this is what I was talking about earlier, when people were just talking bullshit and they make these narratives up to try to get clickbait. Okay. There was nothing staged about that. That was basically 4 guys sitting in a room. We opened a box together. We each took a pack, and the game that we were doing for the content was whoever pulls the best card out of the pack, right, wins.
and we were trying to make it look like a poker game where we, instead of putting money down, we would put cards down, and we would say the cards is this estimated value. But it got to the point where, first of all, I think I won that, by the way, because I pulled like an auto of Derek Carr or somebody from somebody. I'm pretty sure I won that, but they snubbed me on they were like looking at comps and making all these multipliers on their cards, and they kind of snubbed me on that one. But the thing it was is like, at the end of the day, we were just trying to have fun, and it didn't feel right to take people's cards. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take anybody's cards, and even though I think I won, I wasn't going to take anybody's cards. If they would have gave it to me, I would have just gave it back to them, right? Because we're just all trying to be friendly to each other, and I'm the one that told people that was it. So if it was staged in any type of way, of course I wasn't going to say that on my own podcast, right? And the reason that we never really addressed that is because I learned this early in the hobby, is that you don't want to get into these back and forths and have arguments with strangers over things that they misinterpret. You don't want to chase lies, and you don't want to waste your time that could be meant making content like this versus answering people and their false rage or whatever it is. And again, I just think it's the people that have problem with that were the people that were just trying to make lazy content to try to go after me and take me down. And it wasn't even my thing. Like, I was just participating, but they made it like it was my thing, right? They never went after Daps or Prism God or Mojo or anybody that was part of that, right? They just went after me like I was like the mastermind of this, when I'm the one that told everybody what the outcome was. So that's my response to that. I don't think I have to go any further.
No, I hope that puts it to rest. I really do. Well, I want to say something about that lazy content, because I have nothing against the people you called out. Like, your enemies are not my enemies. Like, Dan the Card Man and Sports Card Radio, AIH. Just wait, he says. Oh my goodness. Here's the thing. I think the hobby positivity crew is more toxic and more negative than the supposed watchdogs and the hobby negativity people. I feel that when I kind of like made a comment, not to like hate on or go after Card Collector 2, but just be like, hey, I had a friend who had a Jaden Daniels auto that was incorrectly sent to him, and the hobby positivity crew came after me and were like, they were so rabid that they went after their golden child, their golden boy. And I was like, I have nothing. I am not like, I try to stay neutral in something. Sometimes people press my buttons and I definitely clap back like you clap back, but I feel like I never start things. I'm not going to end every single one of them, but I don't try to start anything. People come into my comment section and want to make ridiculous statements that make them look foolish. And then I just happen to call it out because I think it's ridiculous. So when it comes to the content that you call lazy by these watchdogs or what have you, I actually think it's hard. And maybe it's because I'm the nature of who I am. But like, I remember recently I made some content where I kind of said, I can't believe Jeju, Jared Blez, Backer was like, I'm the face of the hobby. That it was actually hard for me to make it. Like, there wasn't any edits to it. Like, the back end was easier than, say, the back end of editing like a card show vlog. Like, it's really hard. But for me to actually come up with the passion or the actual concept and execute it, I think on the front end, I overthought it a lot. I was like, man, should I make this content? Should I not? Like, I don't want to make it look like I'm a hobby negative person, but I'm also like, I think that in general, like I straddle the line because there's some days where I'm a optimist and happy or positive person, and other days where I just feel so jaded by the bullshit in this hobby.
And that's fair, like if you have your own platform that you've built over the last couple of years, so it's fair for you to be able to voice your opinion for things that legitimately affect you, if that's how you felt at the time. I think there's layers to it, okay? And I want to clarify here and distinguish between these layers here. So when I say lazy content, I mean people that are looking to make content for views, all right? If I wanted to make lazy content, dude, I could like talk shit about everybody, every little thing. It'd be so easy. I could have 100 videos a day and I'd have 100,000 followers and I'd be the most popular person on YouTube, right? If I wanted to, because that's lazy. It's very easy to criticize every single thing because there's a lot of wrong things in the hobby. Like you said, it's not perfect. Okay. But beyond that, right? I think that, when you talk about the hobby positivity crew, I don't really know what that means. I understand what you're saying, the concept of it, but I don't follow people like that. I guess. I mean, I don't know if you think like Jeff Wilson's part of that or whatever it is, but I don't know. Like if they're being fake, yes, I guess you can say because the hobby is not perfect, like you say. But I think I've taken a position where, for me, my time that I spend out of my day away from my work, away from my responsibilities, away from my family, the time that I spend dedicated to viewing and consuming social media within the context of the hobby is there for me to have an escape, right? That's what we're all like. Basically, that's the one thing that we all have in common is that we come to the hobby as a form of escape from reality, from our everyday lives. And when I do that, for me personally, I'm not looking to go through a bunch of rage bait content posts so I can get upset about something that happened that doesn't have anything to do with me. You know what I mean? I'm more looking for entertainment in terms of like cool things to see, interesting stories, things like that. That's the type of content that I want to consume. But, if you go down that rabbit hole and if you follow the wrong people, everything looks like shit. Everything looks like, oh, this is a scam, this is negative, and this is that. And yes, it is in some parts, but for the majority of people, they're not involved in those kind of things. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a fine line that you have to balance there between that type of content that you consume versus the positive content that you can consume, because you got to ask yourself, why am I here? Am I here because I want to see cool cards and meet cool people and participate in the hobby? Or I'm here because I want to be entertained by stories of drama, scandal, things like that, right? And do I want to be provoked emotionally where I feel like I have to take a response to whatever things I see? So that's the second layer of it there. But the third layer is like, for somebody like you, I don't think that you're lazy. I don't think that you're all positive. I think that you go in between.
Yeah,
right?
I'm the hardest working man in the hobby, actually.
Don't take my tagline, okay?
I mean,
right? But if you see something that does affect you, you have the right to talk about it, and you have the right to voice your opinion. And you're gonna get backlash from the other side and that's fine, right? Mm-hmm. But if you do that consistently, then you start to kind of carve out a niche reputation for yourself. And I don't think that you do that at all. But there are people that do that. For sure. That's why I call those people losers, because they're wasting their time. That's why I call them lazy content creators, because that's what they focus on. But there are things that are legitimate. When you see something wrong, you need to call it out, right? That's why even me, like I post those meme videos of the Pokemon people, because I think that's outrageous behavior. So I'm just trying to call it out, right? And it's okay to do that sometimes, but if you try to make that your niche reputation, then you're just kind of pigeonholing yourself.
Well, speaking of, I promise you that we would talk about this, because you were like, let's put it on the agenda. And I'm sorry I didn't have like a loose agenda at the top, but the soaking.
We didn't even talk about my student loans yet. That's like the whole reason I came on here.
Oh, yeah. Soaking, student loans, and then Ryan's question. Actually, quick, Ryan, because he has this episode is sponsored by Mid-Atlantic Sports Cards and Collectibles, the premier show inside the Beltway, Washington, D.C., inside $4.95 and $3.95. He's saying wrap it up in my own podcast read. So May 3rd, next show, Pokemon and Sports Cards. Curator, Ryan asks, Curator, are you spending money on marketing? And if so, where do you spend your marketing dollars?
Yes, we are, but strategically, mainly going towards shows that we are attending, things like that. Okay. And I don't want to get deeper into that. Ryan, I understand what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to help promote your show. No problem. Happy to do so. Let's take it off. Let's go to the private DMs. We'll loop Denny in. We'll do a three-way chat, but it has to involve you purchasing our product through Denny so that he can give it away as a promotion.
Love it. Love it. Soaking, student loans. You pick one of the first two, but we'll definitely talk about those two, and we'll get you out after those two things.
So just the whole thing about, I don't even know if I want to get deeper into this. It's like, I think we could go on for like an hour, but I don't want to talk
about the soaking.
I don't want to talk. Yeah, it's just like, it's a different perspective, but I think we've already kind of covered that through the other topic that we talked about, I was just gonna basically kind of tie that into like how it made me feel showing something like that and the unintended consequences of that, because that reel did go viral and it had some significant consequences for that guy. But I don't want to bring any negative light to it. So, there's nothing to talk about.
I will respect your wishes and I won't go any further. But if you, what I will tell people is, if you want to go back, and I don't know which post and which date and all this stuff, but if you go back to the archives of the Great Curator within the last maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, you will see a video that has, because you can check how many likes or views that.
Okay, I'll talk about it. Since you're testing my phone. Okay,
so
because I think that you can give a personal opinion about this. Okay. All right. And maybe I'm touching on a subject that maybe you don't even want to talk about, and I will respect if you don't want to bring it up, okay? But here's what I want to talk about, because I didn't really cover this before. So to give people context, I was going through my daily content, and I saw this guy. It was a live stream of him prepping a card, and he was soaking a vintage card in some type of fluid. This was a live stream. By the way, he had his card there because he does card prepping services.
So it was not Mr. Minty. It was one of his...
Somebody else. I don't even know who it is, right? To be honest. Okay. But I was watching it and I was like, man, that's really crazy. And it didn't... My opinion was not like negative. My opinion wasn't like, this is wrong. I was just thinking to myself, this is counterintuitive. Taking a piece of paper, soaking it in what looked like water, right? And that's supposed to restore the card and get away with the wrinkles or whatever. And then I came to learn that this is a common practice in like book restoration or poster restoration, art restoration, where they actually soak it in like detergent or something like that to kind of smooth it out, whatever, right? So anyways, I thought it was very interesting, and I screen grabbed it and then I posted it, but I was very mindful when I posted it because I knew if I posted it, people were going to go crazy and going to call this guy out. So I cropped it where his business card was out of it so that his name wouldn't be there. And then it was like a 5-second clip where you couldn't really tell, unless you knew who this guy was, you're not going to really be able to tell who this guy is, essentially, right? And I didn't name him out of like privacy or whatever, but I took the clip because it was live stream, so fair game to me. And then I wrote a long description on that. I thought that I'm not opposed to this type of work. I think it's a form of restoration, and I think that it should be included in the hobby because people are obviously doing it. But for me personally, I like a card that has patina to it, that has wrinkles, that has a story to it to be told. And I just prefer it. I would never do that myself. I would never have the slabs to soak a card that I purchased in detergent or whatever. And if I ever bought a card, I would probably want to know if it was restored. And I mentioned that PSA should have a category for restoration versus alteration, right? So I post that, it goes viral, and a couple of days later, it hits like over 100,000 views. A couple of days later, the guy actually reaches out to me, and he's angry, and he's like, "You shouldn't have posted that, without my permission, blah, blah, blah." And, initially when people say this, I just tell them to go to hell. But I was looking at this guy and I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean to post it, but you had it on a live, yep. You're live streaming. I was just
totally.
If you read my comments, I was not negative towards you. I was actually saying that I think this is okay, but whatever, right? And I thought it was interesting. That's why I shared it. And then here's what got me. He told me, he said, and I even said, if you want, I'll take it down. And I was ready to take it down at that point when it had like 100,000 views. Now it has like over 200,000. But he said, nah, just leave it up. It's cool. He said, leave it up. It's cool. Just tag me, because he wanted credit for it. So no problem. Totally understand. But here's what he told me that kind of got me. He said that PSA was made aware of that video. They tracked him down and they deactivated his commission account. And that affected his business. And then because of that, he had to return orders and things like that and have to go through it. So I affected the dude's business, the way that he makes money doing that. And then I come out to find later on that he's fighting with PSA over this and stuff like that and causing all this drama. And here's the thing. I made the content because I thought it was interesting. It got a lot of views, which is awesome. but it had a negative effect on this guy that I don't know at all. I don't have any problem with this guy. I don't know him, never met him, but I affected him negatively. And for me, I kind of put myself in the shoe of those people that I've been talking shit about the last hour or so, the lazy content creators, right?
Yeah.
These guys, they do the same thing. They'll take a clip and then they'll frame it in a way that makes it look negative. Although I think I tried to be as neutral as I can, I still had a negative impact on this guy. And for me, I felt pretty bad about that, to be honest. And I thought to myself, like, you know, for me, I never have any intentions to hurt anybody. So when it happens inadvertently, you know, I feel bad about it. But I wonder, those guys that do this all the time, right? The lazy content creators, they're doing this, and what they don't, whether they realize it or not, whether they acknowledge it or not, they do have negative consequences on the type of content that they're putting out there, especially some of those guys where they try to, like, you know, where like Jeff Wilson, for example, they're showing his address, they're showing pictures of his children. You know, you had a similar experience. I won't get into detail unless you want to show. You had a similar experience, right? And that's what these guys don't understand. I personally, and I've showed you the screenshots, I personally have had people make death threats to me based on some bullshit video that some idiot posts to get views. And that's what they don't realize. They don't realize that they're trying to fuck around with people's, you know, real life situations, their employments, their families, their livelihoods, right? They do that and they don't care. They don't show any type of remorse or restraint. And that's what really pisses me off about some of these guys. And that's why I call them losers, because they're trying to become famous by taking the laziest route possible. And they're having a real world effects on people, and they don't care at all. And they just have to, and I just want these people to understand, right? If they ever want to do a rebuttal video, a reaction video to me talking shit about them, you got to understand that if you post a video about somebody and you frame it in a way where it makes them look negative, you might have followers that believe everything that you say. And when those followers watch these bullshit videos, they view it as a call to action to do something negative towards that person, to leave a negative comment, to harass them, to threaten them, to, you know, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you experience it yourself. So, you know, this is real things that happen. Right? So that's why I try to, like, kind of stay away from that kind of bullshit. I try not to acknowledge it, but I kind of had a little taste of it myself. And honestly, it made me feel horrible.
Wow. I mean, thank you. I mean, we're getting deep. I mean, we got people bearing their souls and showing vulnerability in the chat. What you just said now, I hope it's okay for you if I clip it and put that on Instagram just to show again, like when I first had you on in my first podcast, it was kind of like trying to show the humanity of you, because I really couldn't understand why people are so up in arms about what you did. And I do see that with me, where I'm literally showing myself having fun, and it rubs people the wrong way. I've been called all sorts of names that I'm not going to get into right now. Probably one of the worst things that happened to me, and I'm not going to get into too much detail, is someone in my comment section is saying, I want to buy something off you on eBay, and then I'm going to track down where you live, and we're going to see, you know, we're going to see about that, or whatever he said, because it's always a he, it's not a she. Part of me was like, oh, like, good, another sale on eBay. Like, I'm really happy about that. But no, I'm like, that's like a really messed up thing to even think. Like, that's so like ill, right? Like cringe or sus or whatever. Like, it's pretty disturbing. It is. I mean, to not even make a joke about it. But yeah, Jay says that's messed up, and Jay says I had that happen to me. Well, that's really terrible. Keith says, I am looking. Keith Johnson just comes in and says, I am looking for Terry McLaurin autos. Where should I look? A little, I don't know if it was intended levity to the proceedings, but I mean, really, there are some very disturbed people in the hobby. There's some great folks, but you get the good and the bad. Like I said earlier, I'm sure you don't want to have the hit pieces and the terrible slams and all that, but you know, they go after the people who are relevant in the hobby. And I know for a while, I felt that, you know, yeah, 2 years in national. When I said that, it was a joke, but I know you took it very seriously. But yeah, people will go after, if they see you having fun, if they see a confident person, if they see a happy person, people will just viscerally get upset at that in the internet. Some people,
I mean, I agree. I don't think it's those people that make that content, the losers, right? I think it's generally some people, right? They'll the people that leave negative comments, those are the people that would be upset. But the point I want to emphasize, and I'll repeat this again, it's like these lazy negative content creators, right? They're just trying to get views, right? It's all about clicks, okay? Being a what's the term I call it? Being a dick for clicks, basically, right? That's what they're doing. They have no other real intention other than this is a way for me to get cheap views. But what they don't realize or what they don't care about is that they build a following of people that really believe everything that they say and really want to support everything that they do. And when they see a video of like, I think somebody made a video of me and they put like devil's horns on me at one time, right? Trying to call me like Satan or something. Somebody tried to call me like position me and call me like the cancer of the hobby or something like that.
Yeah.
When they do shit like that, right? Their followers look at it and they don't follow me. They never seen anything I do, but they look at it. They're like, man, this guy's like the worst person in the world. I'm going to get this guy, right? It's their call to action. I'm going to get this guy because if I get this guy, maybe this person that I follow, maybe they'll acknowledge me as one of their top followers or something like that. And they try to curry favor that way. And it just makes people do stupid shit, like cross the line, like knocking people over in Costco, cross the line type shit. And I just can't stand for that stuff,
Shout out to this Cardboard Life, who I think he's made memes of both of us, but he put me in like the Drake outfit, and then like me begging on my knees to Michael Rubin, and then he put me in the hot dog meme, and I was like, you know what? I actually like hot dogs. I should probably eat less of them. But shout out to the Costco $1.50 hot dog and a soda. But I get that. I know it is jarring when you see someone make content about you. Like I think the people who have done it, at least with me or for me or against me, it pales in comparison to what they've done to you. I will admit that. But I think I'm able to take it with a, like laugh it off or grain of salt or feel like I'm in on a joke. But then there are the creepy, really weird, like disturbing people who really like, I don't even mean this as a joke. Like they really need to get like mental help. And they're the ones who make me, they like definitely make me feel like, oh, like, is this all worth it? Is any of this worth it? But again, I feel like if I stop, they win, and I don't want them to win. I want to keep doing this. I want to have fun. I'm going to show people that I'm having fun, and I want to feel like I have a voice. I want to feel heard. And I think that's what even the watchdogs, like they want to feel heard. So, Glad says I will only knock people over for Costco hot dogs. And Jay says, good point, Denny. What do you think, Dan? And then we'll get to the student loans because we got to end this soon.
Like when I first started making content and I got like negative comments on my posts and things like that, it did hurt my feelings, because in the beginning I wanted to kind of please everybody, right? And I would try to engage with those people. And I even think Ziggy was one of those guys that I talked to in the beginning, just try to like be cool with him, right? And then you realize that you can't be cool with everybody. People are just gonna take digs at you for whatever reason, so you learn to ignore those and you build a thicker skin. Yes. But just kind of going back on this, guys, like there's a difference between somebody leaving a comment and talking shit about you, and there's a difference between somebody texting you privately saying that they're going to come and hurt you, right? Or saying that they're going to do something to you or your family. That's where it crosses the line, right? So I think that my overall message, and this is probably the last thing I'll say about this, we'll move on, is like, I just wish that these, again, like this is me trying to give a little bit of game to these people that call themselves watchdogs, which I've been calling them losers all night. But essentially, if you want to position yourself as a watchdog, okay, you got to understand that there's responsibility that has to be accepted for this. So just like people, when they try to put it on me, if I'm pumping or dumping something, right, and people lose money, they have to also give me credit when people make money. Same thing with this, right? If you're trying to call people out for bad behavior, you also have to accept responsibility if something bad happens from that. And I hope it never does. I hope it never reaches to a point where somebody acts on something that happens from a negative video. But if it does, there's going to be serious liability there, and you're going to see lawsuits, or criminal you know, criminal complaints filed against these
Charges,
people for
yeah.
what they're doing, right? Because this is a different generation of liability that we're experiencing. You know, if people can be prosecuted for like online bullying,
Yeah.
they can be prosecuted for trying to incite, you know, violence against other people through their content.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you so much for that. And wow, we went down some areas I did not think we were going to go down. And it's funny because we're almost at the 2-hour mark and we're about to get to one of the main reasons I wanted to be here. I wanted you to be on because you recently and thank you for everything you've said. And thank you to the chat. You guys have been excellent and awesome. You guys have been super duper respectful. Shout out to Ziggy with two $20 super chat stickers. J2 Comics for a $20 super chat sticker.
Make sure Denny buys it, guys. Chat, you have to, this is going to be a huge scandal in the hobby, okay? If Denny pockets this $60 and does not purchase something from Saturday Morning Cards, okay, I'm expecting to see all the videos that talk trash about him and expose him for the grifter that he is.
So YouTube gets 30%. I get 70% of that 60. So it's really $42 if the math works out for me, I think. So, and I'm supposed to give you a cut.
If that is your position on this, which is fair, if you don't want to fill in the money yourself, I think what he's asking the chat now is to continue to donate, chat. So he's putting it back on the chat. He's putting it back on the chat now to give him another $20 so that he can pay for this box.
Dan has also given me the privilege of buying WWE base Prism base cards for like $300. So there's that. I mean, you know, there's that. But no, student loans thing. Jay says that's awesome. Congratulations. So to set a little bit of background and context, you know, not telling tales out of school here because Dan made content about it. He first told me, he actually was like, man, I can't believe I did this. And it was exciting. And then I was like, man, it's a lot of private info, but he put it out there. And, you know, I think maybe in a way he's trying to inspire. He's not trying to influence or, you know, again, he'll tell us what he meant or what he wanted to do with that content. But he was very proud and excited to share with his followers and audience that through the money that he has made in the hobby, he was able to pay off his student loans out in full, which I think is incredible. If he wants to in this podcast, he can talk about how much and all this stuff. But I will just say it generally, he used the funds that he earned, whether through Saturday Morning Cards or selling cards.
Not Saturday.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You know, piggy banks cards, wrestling cards, Marvel PMGs, whatever it is, he can get into details if he wants. Whatever. I'm not going to press him for any of the details, but he paid off his student loans in full. Congratulations. Go ahead.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. That was a big accomplishment for me, you know, and I don't know, man, depending on who you talk to, like I talk to different people, different financial advisors, people that I trust. And, you know, everybody gives you different opinions. There's some people say if the interest rate is low enough, then you should just take that money and go invest it in the market, or maybe refinance it, get a different interest, and, you know, pay half of it down now, half of it in the market, all these things. Right. But for me, like I graduated college in 2008. I graduated law school in 2010 or 11-ish. So I've been paying those loans off for like 16 years, dude. You know, 16 years of my life I've been paying off these loans. And I've come to learn that student loans it serves a purpose in allowing people to get higher education, but the way that they frame it for you to accept these loans, the way that they tell you the payment plans are going to work, it's very like kind of like a scam, dude. It basically gets people to commit to paying loans and interest for
perpetuity,
life, you know,
forever,
30, 25, 30 plus years, right? And depending on whether you refinance it or not, it's almost like taking out another mortgage. But instead of having a home to live in or something, an asset that will appreciate over time that you're paying down, this is just like a pure loan. And the way that they structure it, where they put all the interest front loaded, you're paying like 70% of your monthly payments towards interest, which continues to compound daily, right? Versus paying down the actual principal. You don't understand these things because it's so complex the way that you get it when they present it to you and they say just sign here, that it's a big problem, you know, and that's why I think it's such a huge topic in politics, where they use that as a talking point to try to get, you know, voters on their side, because it affects so many people, right? So for me personally, you know, I had been paying off these student loans for like 16 years, and when I graduated law school, if people didn't know, I went to law school, graduated. By the time I started paying it after forbearance and after I found a job, it was like $350,000, my loans at that time. And I been paying it off based on my income, which is barely doing anything to it, right? For like 16 years. So in like 2020, I was investing in other type of investments, stocks, real estate. And those things are, you know, those things grow over time, but it's very hard to like make money and take money out of that to go pay for your student loans, right? It's just not like, it's not really conducive to that. It's more like conducive to growing your wealth over time and then being able to retire off of that. So I was looking for a different way to earn money. And that's when I got back into the hobby, and I realized like you could go set up at a card show and make $1,000 on the weekend, $2,000 or whatever, right? And if I did that enough, then maybe I could start paying down these student loans. And that's when I went on that journey in 2020 and started becoming like a full-time vendor, essentially, on top of my day job. And on top of everything else, I was like a full-time vendor on the weekends. That's why you saw all my early content. You saw me going to all these card shows across the country, everything, right? Because I was raising money. But here's the interesting thing about this is like when you get deep into the hobby, it's very easy to lose focus of what brought you to the hobby, right? Like my intention was to make extra money to pay off my student loans. But when you get into the hobby, you realize you got to keep buying, you got to keep buying, you got to keep trading. You got a lot of money tied up in inventory that you have to hold. Right. You get addicted to the process of wheeling and dealing, right? So you don't unless you're really disciplined, you don't really take money off the table to pay off these things.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
You just reinvest it, right? Until it gets to the point where you're like, oh shit, I got all this stuff. Right. So that's how I was for the last like 4 years. Honestly, I probably could have paid it off like 2 years ago if I didn't continue to buy stuff. But it's Hotel
California. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. This last year, because Saturday morning cards was starting to ramp up. And I was putting all my time into that. I had to like retire as a show vendor. I gave up my table at Dallas. I stopped going to shows last year, you know, and because of that, I wasn't like buying as much anymore. I wasn't flipping as much. And I was just starting to put my stuff on eBay and just, you know, sell it over time. And one of the markets that I invested in was my piggy banks cards, which blew up over the last year.
Unbelievable.
And that helped me out a lot. And I was just moving things very easily. And then, you know, it got to the point where I closed this really big deal on the piggy banks crown thing. And I had all this money and I was like, you know what? It's time. You know? And I'll tell you, yes, I could have invested it in the stock market, which probably would be really great right now because the stock market went down. Maybe I could have bought a rental property or something. But the fact that I was able to pay off this loan with one click of a button, it was 171,000 or something like that.
Wow.
One click of a button takes 16 years of relief off of my shoulders. When a lot of my law school classmates are still paying their loans, a lot of them are way more successful than me. Partners in law firms, you know, all these things, litigators make way more money than me, still paying off their loans. And I'm able to tell the world that I did it. That made me really proud. So that's why I did it.
Burden off your shoulders. Congratulations. I mean, that's a big that's like a big relief. Like you said, relief off your shoulders. We're talking, you just said the number, $171,000 or so. That's a lot of, that is not a small amount of money at all. You did you mention how much the piggy sale was? Like that, like I don't want to.
No, I didn't mention it, and I have this agreement with the buyer that I'm not able to do it. Okay. By the way, if you want to talk about how we executed that deal, I talked to you about this like a year ago. I used a purchase agreement that I came up with, which I would encourage people to do in the hobby to avoid getting scammed. But part of that was like an NDA where, you know, we just don't talk about it.
Okay. All right. I respect that. Um, Congratulations, that is amazing. I forgot to say, because Connor, I don't know if he's still in here, but he asked me how did the show go this past weekend. I set up at a small local card show, about 70 tables, where there was like maybe 500 to 600 people who roll through, and I'm gonna make a card show vlog. Thank you for everyone who's here, and be on the lookout for that later. Probably a week from now, I'll probably release it, because I gotta edit down 4 hours of footage down to like something manageable, like 30 to 45 minutes. But it was like I made recent content where I was like, to recoup the amount of eBay fees, if you're paying 15%, like how much do you have to sell if you have $100 table? And so my thesis, or my answer, my guesstimate was $700. So I did do more than that. I probably will share the total amount in a future content. I I'm still actually adding things up. I have to look through my content to see how much I made. And there's a big difference between gross profits and net income, right? I mean, you can sell $10,000 of cards, but how much of that is actual profit? Because what if you're into that for like 9,000? That means you really only made $1,000 after you account for expenses and inventory acquisition. So that's stuff that we'll talk about another time. But I did cross over that threshold of like $700, and not like that much more above that. But again, I have to go through my cards. I bought some cards, and we'll have to see. E-Man, I made a deal with him. He's in the chat here. Thank you for being here, E-Man. He says Fire Show, definitely picked up some heaters. Keith asks, are you going to make merch? Now that could be another moneymaker. I have no merch. I literally made myself some stickers through a sticker vendor, Stickify. Shout out to him. I literally made 3 to 5 baby onesies that I've given to some people in the hobby who've had babies. I did not tell them. I just gifted it to them. And so yeah, I mean, for merch is maybe something I think about. I don't know. I have not put anything like that out there. But Keith says, love the effort and the grind you put into your channel and your collection. When he says nice collection in the back, this is literally uncut sheets. This is one of the things Dan and I actually first talked about. Oh, I think he's talking about. Oh no, he's saying nice collection in the back for Denny. This is an uncut sheet. This is actually just 90s wax, junk wax that's in an uncut sheet. Dan has much more expensive, better uncut sheets behind him. He actually has a Duncan. I think he might have what is it, like the Duncan Go Nuts uncut sheet?
No, I actually sold that one, and I kind of regret selling it. But I do have the 96 credentials with the Kobe. I have the full set of that, and a couple other cool 90s inserts, like the Jam one.
The strawberry, the Welch's Jam thing.
And then the ones that look like books, I think they're called like Expectations, Great Expectations.
Yeah. Where do you find that? Yeah, the Great Expectations.
Randomly on auction sites. I always check for uncut sheets, and when I see these things pop up, if I can pick it up, I will.
I want the uncut sheets that are like this many behind. Like I don't like the uncut sheets that are like 5 by 5. That's almost like a little bit the size of like a laptop or a book. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 across.
Like poster size, like 24 by 36, basically.
Well, yeah, he knows his numbers. 11 cards by 12 cards, and each card is 2.5 by 3.5. So whatever that number is, but I mean, Dan knows his numbers. He's I think one of the best comments I saw on Instagram was, you can hate the man, but you got to respect his collection and his hustle. He has an incredible collection. He's curated, truly curated your collection. So I give you a lot of props on that. Like people can hate you for whatever they want, but you do. Like when I see your stuff, I'm like, it's pretty impressive. I wish he did show some more of that, but I get what you're doing with your recent content and pushing Saturday morning cards and all that. But I give you major props for just no one could ever accuse either of us for having any lack of passion for this hobby.
Yeah. And if they do, that just kind of shows their ignorance to our content and who they're talking about. And that kind of shows people like, that's why a lot of the stuff that people say about us or the content that they put out about us is like, it's just like made up, that's it's false. But one thing I just want to add to my story too, about how I posted that, part of it was to kind of like humble brag a little bit, but also I want to be able to show people that it's not wrong to make money in the hobby, right? The hobby is a great tool that allows people to, some people do this full time. I've seen kids like don't even go to college, and I wouldn't encourage that, but I've seen kids that make good money full time, in the hobby doing these things. I've seen people start businesses, breaking businesses, card shops.
Yeah.
I've seen people start supply businesses like Mr. Minty and things like that. So
Yeah.
the hobby is a great way. We want to think about it as pure and innocent, but it's also a great way to, make extra money that can impact people's lives in a serious way. So I hope that, by talking about it and showing it off and making content, that people can be like, you know what, I think I can do that too. And they'll aspire to go on their own path, like I did.
You're inspiring. You're not an influencer, you're an inspirer. I know some people don't like the influencer tag. I don't like it. I mean, I know why. Look, I mean, you have the platform, right? I mean, you have influence, you have sway. People buy your merch. People buy your use your affiliate code, right? I mean, I think that's influence, but I know people don't like that word. One word, and again, I will get you out on this. Do you want to finally kind of dispel or kind of like explain the whole gatekeeper thing? Because I know where you're coming from. You're trying to say, let's keep the bad actors of the hobby. I've met a lot of bad actors in the hobby, and also good actors. But you're not saying let's gatekeep to keep this hobby small for just the select few. You are actually not a hobby elitist. You are very much, in my opinion, a hobby egalitarian.
Yeah. First of all, like, why would I even say that? Like, as much as the people I interact with and as much as the content that I show off, why would I ever say that? But that's just another example of these trash, lazy content creators framing a certain narrative, okay, because that's what gets the clicks, and then they run with it. And if they want to say that, they say that. But anybody that looks at me or follows my content or talks to me, they know that that was never anything, right? All my original videos, the way that I kind of broke into making content is I made informational videos. They're all still up there, guys. You can all watch them. They still get a lot of views. And at the beginning of each video, informational video, I do a little monologue of what my intention was at that time, which is basically to, set a standard of conduct within the hobby that people should try to hold themselves to, right? So that we can easily spot and keep out the bad actors, because there are people that scam. There are people that are just jerks and will try to bring people down for whatever reason. And we don't need any of that shit. You know what I mean? So that's what my early content was about. And I don't even remember. I said it on like a live or something. If somebody has a clip, please show me. Okay. But I was probably saying that I want to gatekeep against the bad actors and all the assholes in the hobby and things like that. And I have no sympathy towards them. Okay. And I'll even call them out to their face. But that's what it is, right? And I don't think anybody would disagree with me that we should keep bad actors out. We should keep people that scam. We should keep people that try to like tear other people down, because we don't need any of that shit.
Yeah. Thank you. Well said. So E-Man says, stay true to your passion and remember why you started. Deliver quality content that honors the hobby, but never settle. Always strive for more. Keep pushing and evolving to make an impact. I love that, E-Man. Pushing and evolving. So I hope you agree with that. You definitely have passion. And I think, even though you're getting bigger and, even though I'm probably going to surpass you in the next, several years.
The only way that Denny's Cards would ever surpass me, I'll say this now, is number one, he pays for followers, which is probably the only way he can do it.
Never.
Number two, something happens to me, like I die.
Oh,
and then he'll continue to make content for another 10 years or so. But that is the only way that you will ever surpass me.
So someone did try to drive by shoot you and your family, which is crazy.
It almost happened. Which honestly, I almost died. This is serious, guys. I'm not joking. I almost died. Okay, like a bullet came like within a foot of my head, blowing my head off. When shit like that happens, it gives you perspective. What really matters in your life for me right now is taking care of my family and just being happy and living in peace, which makes these like lazy, insignificant people mean nothing to me, dude. Like they could waste hours out of their life making videos about me all day they want. It's not going to affect me anyway. Because there's more important things in life. And it also helped me refocus on like like letting things go, which is, why I started selling a lot of my stuff, because it's just not important. And also, what I want to focus my time, when the time that I take away from my life to give to the hobby, I want to focus on stuff that kind of brings me joy, not brings me, anxiety or angst or anger and things like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And Keith Johnson asked, what are the baseball cards to look out for this season? I honestly, spitballing cards, Chris Sewell, baseball collector, card dealer, all that in that order. Those are great. Scotty B. I mean, these are some great baseball card podcasts or people to ask. I mean, Dan, do you want to answer this question? Like, I really.
You're asking the wrong guy. I have no idea. Buy vintage. Buy vintage baseball cards. You can't.
Ooh, there you go. Get some Willie Mays and Ernie Banks and Hank Aaron, all that stuff.
Buy SMC. Buy SMC.
Oh, yeah, SMC. So this podcast episode was not sponsored by SMC, but limited edition.
It was sponsored by the people. Denny, it was sponsored by the people. And remember, guys, the contract that was established through the chat in the beginning was that if anybody donates as a super chat sticker, Denny will take those funds and buy a Saturday Morning Cards box and use it as a giveaway. Okay, so make sure you hold him accountable to that. If you see Denny walking around with a new piece of jewelry or a new card that he's showing off, in the $60 range, you know that he did something bad.
I am I'm known for being very gaudy with my jewelry and my my spending. I'm very well known for that in the hobby. So, but no, Dan, Saturday Morning Cards, I wish you well with that. Congratulations on the success. Congratulations on the paying off the student loans. Congrats on like Tupac, five shots couldn't drop you. You took it and smiled. But the East Coast does have the best card shows. I won't even get into the East Coast, West Coast battles.
Oh boy!
Oh, it's where everything started. But anyway, we'll have to have you on.
That's where people, the shows where people get robbed the most.
Philly
show.
Debatable.
Philly show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have no retort to that. I gotta say, you've been an excellent guest. We went over 2 hours, which is way too long. You've been very generous with your time and your information. I hope everyone in the chat really appreciated it. You got a lot of love in the chat. I thought there would be some trolls. There were not. Thank you, chat, for being so respectful and very kind and very funny and very, engaging. So you guys have been excellent. Dan, the Great Curator, you've been excellent. I hope you all have a wonderful week in the hobby. Until the next hobby Hangout episode. Hope you guys all have a great evening and great week. Dan, anything last thing you want to say?
Follow Saturday Morning Cards on Instagram, guys. If you want to buy any of our stuff, go to SaturdayMorningCards.com. You can check me out on Instagram too, at the Great Curator. But we would appreciate all the support that you can give us as we try to kind of disrupt the hobby with our pop culture cards.
You heard it from Michael Roop Nguyen. Use code Denny for 10% off, right? Oh, I guess. Well, I wasn't joking, but all right. Ziggy's still here. He says thank you. Thank you, Ziggy. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for the here. Look at this. $20 Ziggy.
There it is.
J2. $20 Ziggy. No, not another one. No. This is enough. You guys are excellent. I actually have to take a screen grab of this to commemorate, and then I'm going to brag about it on Instagram. So take a picture.
You better buy something. They didn't give you this money just for you to have lunch.
Yeah, well, I think they want a mukbang. I think they want to see me eat. I think they want to see me get bigger.
I don't think anybody wants to see you eat, okay? Especially mukbang.
Well, look, I mean, still got more hair than you, so.
But you also have a bigger face than me too, okay? I think it's a trade-off. The hair doesn't make your face slimmer, by the way.
Well, this guest has overstayed his welcome. Thank you so much, Dan, and thank you, chat. You all have a wonderful evening and a great week in the hobby.